There we go. Welcome to the Bob and Tam Show. It's a special night. Welcome to our Sunday night live. We're still at home. We'll be heading out Tuesday, late afternoon. We'll be heading over to California. But if you're on our channel the first time, you've never been here before, you wonder what the heck are these people all about? We're all about motorcycle rallies right now. We're going to show you all the ins and outs. We've been doing this for about 3 years, and we give you all the insights of what's going on at your favorite rallies that you're thinking about going to, or one that hey, I don't know if I want to check that rally out. Hey, you can come to our channel, check it out. You can see what it's all about. You can go back and check out the playlist we have. You can see we got some extra room here. We've got a couple of guests that are going to be coming on tonight that we'll be bringing on soon as they get out of the green room, and we'll bring them in, and so we'll get things going. But tonight we're going to talk a little bit about rallies. We're going to tell you about a couple of videos that we've got coming up for next week. We actually got to talk to the Popo down there in Sturgis, because there was that big shooting there in Red River about 2 weeks ago, and we talked to the chief about what he's going to do to protect all of us that come to the rally, and what he's going to do if it happens. So we're still waiting for one of our 1% group that we've got. We've got to turn the phone down. And talk to one of the 1% groups that we know that actually dominate the area there, and kind of get their feedback too before we go on our video to let you know. So next week we will have a video on, we're not going to talk about which 1% group that it's going to be that's going to give us some information, because we don't want to
offend anybody.
Yeah, hurt anybody's feelings. And but we will tell you what the chief told us. And so that video will be coming out next week. We also have a video that'll be coming out on the shop. We've got a lot of work that we've gotten done, and I've had a couple people ask, hey, will you do a final video? So next week I got a little lull time, because we're going over to California, going to visit the grandkids, and she's going to go to see the doctor and stuff, get all that done before we head out to Milwaukee. So when we get all that done, we'll be I'll have a little lull time while I'm over there with all the grandkids. I'll have some time to work on some videos, so we'll get that one done. We'll get the one with the Popo done, and we'll also have one video that
I don't think we're on this, because it's not on the bottom.
Does it happen so often where you drywall sticks past your door?
You don't know where we are usually on the bottom?
You're on the bottom down here.
That's not the iPad.
Well, then maybe you're on the old one then.
I don't know.
Then you need to talk.
So anyway, we have a special guest here that's out here visiting us, and we want to introduce them to you. And we get a few minutes here where he'll look at this, and like I said, we'll talk about some different events going on at Sturgis, some people we've talked to, things that are going on, and we'll see everything that's going on. So he's still trying to get that to come on. So anyway, I saw a lot of people on. We don't have to come on right now. It'll be a few minutes.
Okay.
We're trying to get the iPad to go.
I figured we put two beautiful women together. We're going to be racking some.
Well, here, let me see. So there's Slim
You got to
Jim.
get the comments. She's way behind.
Crap on the Crackers on. They won't even come up on here. Oh, I got to.
This is on.
Here you go.
Here we go.
Fix this. There we go.
There. Okay, now I can bring you guys on. So there's Slim Jim's on, Clint's on,
Crap
Crap on the Crackers on.
She got a new motorcycle.
Yeah, Sandy did. How about that? So you'll have to, he told me we got the email, but I never did look at it. I need to look at it and see what kind of bike you get. Did you send a picture?
Yep. Couple
There you
pictures
go.
too.
Rick was on. I didn't say Rick's name. Jerry's on. How you doing, Jerry? And how's Jill? Roadkill Run. Ray's Moto Life's on. And that's us. There's Sandy. So Mrs. Cracker's in the house. Facebook user.
If you click on Facebook, if you're there, if you click on that little blue bar, yellow bar, red bar, whatever color it is, it says StreamYard on it, that gives us permission to put you on here. So we can see your comment and we'll know who you
Cliff
are.
C's on. Did you get my text, Cliff C? He sent me a thing. Mike's on. He says it's been a crazy day already. So we'll have to hear more from him a little bit later. George is on, and James Mason.
All right,
There
so
you
she's
go.
all caught up. So what we've got tonight is we're going to bring on to you, because we're kind of talking about Sturgis. That's going to be a little bit. We're going to talk about Milwaukee, what else we're going to be doing, talking about some of the things that we'll be doing in Sturgis to give you an idea of what you might want to do, your plans and things like that. So who we're going to bring on is Mike and Patsy. And they are actually, Mike's actually the one that's on here. You just seen him. And Patsy, they are the ones that are going to be getting married in Sturgis on opening day, that Friday. So come on in. Bringing them from the green room.
Hi, guys. That's Patsy. And there's Mike.
That's why the screen's kind of wide this time.
So that's why we're so far away.
Yeah. So we're a little farther away from the microphone than I didn't want to put the lapel mics on. One of us would be louder than the other, so we didn't. So this is what you get.
Yep.
So hopefully
For those of you that may recognize this old face here, I am the intrepid field reporter from the 81st Sturgis Rally that kind of crashed his way into Bob and Tam's Facebook page with some fun reporting from around it. And I've made such great friends. These people are the best people for rallies and just hanging out with and talking with. I have our friendship with them. And this lovely lady here, this is Patsy. This is the bride to be at Sturgis on opening day. So make sure you're there. We're going to have a big crowd. That's the first thing I want to bring up is I want to thank you two personally because our original plan was just to show up, get justice of the peace. You want them, you got them, and move out. And because of their friendship with Rod and the people at the chip, things have progressed to where it's turned a bit of a to-do into an even bigger to-do. The mayor, Mark Christensen, the mayor of the city of Sturgis, will be performing our ceremony.
About that.
He's gracious enough to come out after the opening ceremonies in the city. He's coming out to the Buffalo Chip to marry me and Patsy and also introduce the city's winner of the Battle of the Bands. That was a contest that the city Chamber of Commerce for Sturgis did in coordination with the city and the Buffalo Chip, where 12 bands competed. The winning band not only gets a recording contract, free merchandise to sell. They got, was it $5,000 in cash?
I think something like that.
Yeah, I think it was close to $5,000 in cash.
Like a photo shoot, all kinds of crazy stuff.
The photo shoot, and Woody gave them the opening slot for the opening of the rally on Friday night, August 4th. They will be the opening band for ZZ Top.
So that's pretty exciting. So that's a lot of things going on. So there's going to be a lot of stuff going on that first Friday. So actually all the way up at the Crossroads, which is free for everybody to come, because we're going to let you guys know there's a lot of things at the Buffalo Chip that you don't need a wristband for. And a lot of people say, hey, I want to see a concert. How much does a concert cost? Actually, the concerts are all free. But what you have to buy is a camping pass for the day, for the week, for the whole time, the pre-rally, whatever you want, how many times you want to come in. That's what you buy the pass for. That's actually gets you into the campground. You can stay in a tent. You can bring an RV, whatever you want. You can boondock. That all is included in that. Typically, tents is what you get the free spot for. Just find a place, throw a tent. A lot of guys that go to the concert sometimes will do that. Bring a sleeping bag and a small, put it up there after the concert so they don't have to fight with the traffic getting in and out. But that night's going to be a lot of stuff going on. So it's already going to start about 4 o'clock.
Backwards.
4 o'clock at Crossroads, and there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff. The Badgers, which have the motorcycle support group, they're having a big meet and greet that's going to be going on there. There's a bunch of people. I think Professional Monkey, I think he said he's going to be up there, and there's going to be a couple other YouTubers that are going to show up there. Adam Sandoval may be up in there. So there's going to be quite a few YouTubers that if you want a chance to meet with some of them, you may get to see them between that 4 and 5 o'clock time. And then from there, they're going to line all the bikes up. There was a pre-pay for. They have 100 bikes that you had a chance to buy into that you could ride into actually it was free. I guess there was no charge for it. Yeah. So you just had to sign up, but you had to buy a pass to get in for the day to do that. So it's a free ride. They're actually going to lead it all in. And if any of their people that have bikes will be behind them. They're not, the rest of them will be down there, which most of us will be down there waiting for them to
We'll be in the amphitheater waiting for their arrival.
I'll probably come up there to see what's kind of going on, but we'll pretty much be in the amphitheater getting ready for all the stuff that we're going to do. So that's going to be the main thing on that Friday, late afternoon, all the way till ZZ Top comes on at 10:30. There's a lot of stuff going on. They tear up cases of beer. Last year it was Coors. Maybe this year it'll be Bud Light. Who knows what they're gonna crash through this year? But that's pretty exciting. So it's a really festive time. Like I say, Adam Sandoval's really involved with it down there. He was on the one of the couch that was driving around. He was on that when they crashed through. Yeah. So there's a lot of excitement that's going to be going on that day besides just the wedding. So they're going to have this band that won the contest, and it mostly was local bands. We kind of talked about it. We thought maybe somebody that was trying to, maybe like an LA band or somebody from Vegas would have went out there because they were definitely different bands.
It said any genre, and believe me, there were any genre.
It was a variety. I only heard I didn't get to see the live performance. They didn't put that out or anything, so you could hear what they did. But Damon, which is Rod's son, he was there. He was one of the judges, and that's what he said. He wasn't necessarily looking. He looked at a lot of things. One, he looked at stage presence. He looked at how great, how they sound and all the different things they did. I think this band's only a 3-piece band, and you can look them up. It's Good Fire. And you can Google them. I don't know if they got anything on Spotify or not, but I found them on YouTube. They had a couple songs up and stuff. We'll have to wait and see. Then ZZ Top will be coming out. So there'll be a lot of excitement going on. We don't have an exact time of the wedding yet. It may be right before Good Fire comes on. Because what Mike was saying was he thought that the mayor is actually going to introduce the band. So that'll maybe all be done around that same time. We're all waiting because a lot of things all have to be ironed out.
And everything's on a time schedule. And Rod, when we talked to Rod this week, he said, I got to know the times, and everything is like, and a lot of places you go and they say it's going to start at 12 and it don't start till 2. Not the Buffalo Chip. It's got a time. Punctual. If it's time to do it. And so a lot of people are wishing Mike and Patsy congratulations on their wedding.
Ralph, thank you, everybody.
So Crap on a Cracker did, Sandy did, Daytona Dave did, somebody else did.
Now we're gonna have wedding. If you're not there with us on the stage, no, Ralph, you cannot bring your bulldog. No pets allowed in the Buffalo Chip.
No.
I'm sorry. I would love to meet your bulldog. I would love to pet your bulldog.
He said he wasn't going back to Sturgis anymore. So
yeah, you got to be there to bring the dog.
Well, he's been there the last few years.
We're going to have some guest books spread out throughout the chip, throughout the amphitheater. We're going to have everybody there. Just sign your name, where you're from. I don't need any other details. Social security numbers or credit card numbers would be nice. We are registered at Black Hills Harley, in case you're wondering. We could use a new CVO. That would be wonderful. But please, if you're there, stop in and sign that. Just sign the guest book. Just your name and where you're from to let us know. Because this turned into such a tremendous event for me and Patsy personally. Where did you and Tam get married, Bob?
in his church in Belleville, Illinois.
We had a whole big thing, church wedding, and had new cars to ride in, and
They were
had a
all,
big reception, all
LTDs.
Ford, yeah. And
My grandpa had one,
yeah.
his best friend had one, and who was the third one?
18 years old I was. She was 19. Rocking the
Barely
cradle.
18. Here we go again.
Well,
2 months and 1 week is our age difference.
Well, we're really, really excited about getting married in Sturgis at the event, the opening day. You know, it's something that he's dreamed about. And I'm new to the biker world, and I'm really loving it, you know, because I get to go out on the bike with him. I get to ride behind him. It's something I've always wanted to do, but never knew anybody who had a bike, you know, that I could ride with. But he turned out to be the best partner on a bike ever. I'm so excited.
Last year, you notice I had a bit of an absence a couple of days during the rally. I had a severe medical emergency that the city of Sturgis and Rapid City helped me out with, and they did a wonderful job, saved my life. They really did. But somebody found out I was sick, and she came up from Denver on Facebook and came up to help take care of me for those couple of days. And from there, we've always been friends for 13 years.
Mhm.
From there, it blossomed into a very strong romance. And over the time frame, I can't live without her. She's the better half of me. She's as funny and as silly and as irrelevant as I am. And when you find people like that, you marry them and you go the distance with them. The reason we're getting married at the Chip is simple. This is what happens when you let a man plan a wedding.
That's
So
the truth.
I got to ask, he always says our house is a man cave. Is it?
I'm a little surprised. It's a little more mannish than I thought it would be, but no, it still has some frilly touches to it.
Well, it's organized. That's, I think, where the female part comes in.
No, I'm very
Over
organized.
there.
So Terry, the wedding is going to be Friday, August 4th at the Chip, and it's going to be after the parade that comes in and before the band is announced. I don't know a definite time
We'll
yet.
let you know sooner than later when everything will be. We'll actually be at the Chip on the 19th of July. So at that point, everything will be kind of ironed out. We may have a date times before that. We're going to be doing lives every single night. We're supposed to give them Friday night. We're not going to do a live. We're actually going to be, if the internet
We're gonna be
works,
streaming
we're going to
the
stream their wedding if all goes well. And
That's the
we'll,
plan.
yeah, it depends on internet and all that kind of good stuff. And so the idea is we're going to be doing lives from Saturday till the next Saturday. We're going to be doing lives every single night from the Chip. We'll be doing the main one, which will be at, what'd you figure, 5 o'clock? 5 o'clock, and that's Mountain Time, 5 o'clock. And we're going to be up on
Top shelf, probably.
the top shelf. You get up there, that's a VIP area. They were supposed to build some stages for us. At this moment, the stages have not got built. They may be built by the time we get there, but at this moment, they're not there. So from 5 o'clock, she's thinking until 6:30, we'll probably do our normal nightly live. We'll have some guests up there. We may get some of the bands come up and talk to us. We got the Bikini Girls are supposed to be coming up and talking to us. Get a couple every night. Hopefully that way we can hit the whole stream of them before they actually announce the winner. We'll be having lives throughout the day, depending on what's going on at the Buffalo Chip. Every morning we'll be putting out a video, probably about 9 a.m. Mountain Time too. We'll be coming out with all the events that are going to be going on at the Chip. That's one of the
For that
things
day.
that we found out about the Buffalo Chip. It is so hard to keep track of everything that's going on. They've got Camp Zero out there. They got Bikini Beach. They got Crossroads. They've got the museum down there. There's a lot of stuff that's going on. So we're trying to get all that set up so you guys can know all the things that are going on at the Chip. Everything that goes on at the Crossroads up at the top of the hill is free. Doesn't cost you anything to stop in there. You can have the Bikini Girls wash your bikes. I think they take tips on that. They've got
Bands up there. They've
The Big
also got
Engine
the
Bar.
Wall of Death.
The Big Engine Bar, the Wall of Death.
probably Billy Lane will be up there again. He had his booth up there last year. I think he's going to come back again. They'll have some other booths. They also have what's the garage called?
Fozzie's.
Fozzie's Garage. We met Fozzie's, really great guy. Actually, they got a dealership they own. I didn't know that. And we met them. I don't know where we met them at. Was it in Daytona? We met
Yeah,
them.
Daytona.
All the custom bike shows
They're
are
all up
done
there
at the Crossroads. So the bike shows are free, and they announce the winner, and then they bring the winners up on stage in the Chip during the concerts. But all the shows are free. Every show is free to see and see all the different bikes. Their Sportster show last year was something out.
Yeah, we missed that.
It was unbelievable what these people did to a Sportster. They were some really paint jobs that looked like you could stick your hand in them on some of
that's
these
cool.
bikes. They was pretty
3D
good.
and all that.
Which is nice. And you do not need a camping pass to get in there. So when we're talking free, it is free. You can ride your bike up. There's parking right there in front of the Crossroads. It's right on the asphalt. Great parking there. Go in, you can check out the bar. Like I said, they got the Bikini Girls out there. They switch them out all day long. So there's a different group. Usually have 4 to 6 of them at a time out there doing the bikes and stuff. The bike shows, they'll have almost every day. There's at least one bike show going on. So that's really special. And they've got a Honda one, I think, going on this year. If you got a Honda and you're bringing it out there, they got a show for that. And then they got all the stuff down at Camp Zero. They got the mini bike races and all kinds of crazy stuff going on down there.
So, Terry, yes, you do have to buy a wristband to get in for the wedding. all that stuff they was talking about is called the Crossroads, and that's up by the Big Engine Bar. But to go to the wedding, you'd have to buy a camping pass to get into the campground because they're getting married in the amphitheater up on the stage.
Yeah. So if you want to meet them before, you can just go to the Crossroads and they'll be up there mingling with all those people until it starts. So you'll be able to see them if you want to talk to them and see how she's dressed and all that kind of neat stuff, and see how he's dressed and
So
buy him a
Christy
drink
says,
or
"Hi, mom,
whatever.
and soon to be daddy." Is that your daughter?
What's that?
Is that your daughter?
Yeah.
That's Chrissy. Hi, Chrissy.
That's Chrissy. Hi, baby.
This is the face that you get to call Pops.
Yeah, that's the thing is none of my family, other than my mother and my cousin Angela, have met Michael.
Mm.
You know, every time we try to get him to Denver so that he can meet everybody, something happens
Yeah.
and we can't get him up there. So unfortunately, they're probably not going to meet him until.
Well, they should have came on. You can call them up and tell them to get on the
Yeah,
internet.
that's what it
I
is.
did.
Yes.
So send some
I
phone
tagged 'em
numbers
all.
and then we can love it. By the way, her mom loves me. I don't know if that's a good sign yet or a bad sign yet,
Yeah.
but her mom does love me. So
Oh, gosh.
her
I
mom's
think
awesome.
She loves him
Props,
more than me right
props
now,
to
I
moms.
guess.
your mother-in-law.
My mother-in-law, all of our parents are
Yes,
gone.
Oh.
Her mother-in-law I got along with. I didn't have any problem with her.
It was my dad.
Her dad was my issue. He didn't want to be my friend until he was on his deathbed. Then he wanted to be my friend.
Oh.
He did everything, driving her with cars and everything, not to marry me.
So Christy says, "Hi, love you both."
Aw,
Is the daughter taken? Ralph wants to know.
Ralph wants to know if your daughter's gone. Is she married?
Yes, Chrissy
Yes,
is married.
she's
She's married to a wonderful young man named Steve, and he'll be at Sturgis too,
Yeah.
Ralph.
They're going to be there.
There's
Well,
always,
they do have experience with dogs, so maybe they can watch your bulldog for you if you need that.
So that's what somebody wanted to know. Why can't we bring our bulldogs? And
The
Chip doesn't allow dogs.
any dogs. What happens is a lot of these campgrounds, which I understand. First of all, Rod that owns the Buffalo Chip used to be a lawyer. So that's the first thing you got to think about is dogs can also be a liability. If somebody gets bit, if, all kinds of crazy
If your
things.
dog gets run over by
Especially
crazy people.
when we go camping and stuff, people have a tendency of putting dogs in pens and leaving them outside and they're barking and all this stuff. There's enough going on. There's cars, well, not so much cars. Once 7 o'clock comes, you can only have golf carts or ATVs or motorcycles. That's all you can travel on once 7 o'clock comes at night. So there's a lot of action going on.
And
So
it's
if you're
dark out there.
yes, it's black, dark. If there's no lights on, you can't see your hand in front of your face. And so if there's an animal out there, there's a lot of people, everybody says, oh, my dog never bites anybody. Well, it's sooner or later, the dog probably will. And in a case like that, where you've got so many people, there's so much congestion going on, so much excitement going on, loud music, all this stuff going on, dogs can freak out. Any kind of animal could freak out during that time. So we don't do it. We board Charlie while we're gone. These last 2 years for going to Sturgis, we don't take Charlie when we stayed at Kathmandu. I guess last year,
Yeah,
Kathmandu we had him last year. Year before, 2021, we didn't take Charlie, and we're not taking Charlie this time because of that. And we understand that, and we can understand that rule why he does that. Because when we go to these rallies and stuff like this, we do see that sometimes. If you're in a busy campground and there's so many people, especially like that, or Pappy Hoyle, or Glencoe. Those are probably the three biggest ones I would say shouldn't have any dogs. Shouldn't have any kids there either. There's people that drag kids to rallies too. Shouldn't be at any of these three events.
They leave adults from Glencoe.
Yeah. So they learn what they. We've got a couple. We have a couple 19-year-olds that's going to be doing some filming for us our first 3 days, and so they're going to be on property. But they're there for what's it, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, because they leave on Tuesday. And so
there's something else I want to cover with that real quick, if I may, Bob. You bring your pet, even if you're camping somewhere that allows pets, okay? You got your little pooch with you. It's all good. You leave them in your camper. The AC's running. The electricity's running. You go out riding for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. Something breaks in the camper. The AC cuts off. Now it's 100 degrees outside and it's 125 in that camper.
You'll come home to a roasted weenie.
Yeah, so there is a certain amount of not just the biting aspect, but something happening to your pet because you're out having fun and something went wrong with your camper. And it's not like you can tie them to a tree if you're going to go out riding and you're staying in a tent. You know, that's just tragedy waiting to happen.
Now, in Ralph's case, he takes his dog with him. He's got a trike. His dog's got a little basket, I think, on the back,
Yeah.
and he's always in the basket. We see him all the time on Main Street and stuff.
Like Bullet Dog.
Yeah.
Like the dog that rides in the Bullet.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people that do that. So we're not saying that, but I mean, just like this, there is power outages. Same reason why we keep our generator full of gas and we keep water on board. We've been campgrounds where the power goes off, somebody hits the water line. They got to shut the whole park down to fix it. So things like that happen. And somebody say, well, I got all Wi-Fi. I can keep track of all that. Now you're out in Deadwood and the power goes off. How long is it going to take you on a Saturday to get back to your camper? You know, you could run into some real problems. And when it comes to boarding, if you don't have a place right now to board your animal in Sturgis, you're not going to find no place. There was somebody just was on our Facebook page. You should have that. Can you get that up on there?
What about?
The banner going across the bottom, but our Sturgis page.
Oh, yeah.
Can you do that from there?
Mm-hmm.
Have that run along the bottom. So we have our Sturgis page has hit 37,000 today. Woo! And so that's running along the bottom. If you want to get pertinent information about Sturgis, we have some really great people. Mike's on there. And a lot of other people that give out really good information if you're asking a question, or like somebody today asked a question about, hey, can I rent an ATV? And everybody's like, no, you ain't going to find nothing like that. I said, yes, you can. Right in Custer. You can go right down in the city of Custer, and they have some right there that they rent and give you a trail and all kinds of great information. So we can probably look it up, but you can call Custer and you can find out.
Also, if I remember correctly, just south of LaSalle on Junction, there's a little bike place in there that may or may not have motorcycle rentals, but they do rent ATVs too. They had a few out. They had a few out last year. It's right there on the east side of Junction. As you're going out Junction, that'd be on your left-hand side going down to I-90. It's that little bike shop right there. I forget the name of it. It's like a custom shop, and they had a couple bikes for rent, and they had ATVs to rent there too. The problem with that is how are you going to get them to where you're going to ride them?
Because this one here, well, these are all street legal, the ones that they have in Custer, and it's like they're more of what do they call them things?
Side by side?
Yeah, side by sides. And then what they do is give you an iPad, and they call it breadcrumbs. You go, because there's supposed to be there's over 20,000 miles of trails in the Black Hills. And you can go on all these rides, and when you get done, you hit the button, and it'll give you the directions to get back to their place to drop it back off. So it's kind of neat. What the price was, I don't remember. We put the flyer up. We talked to them a couple years ago. Yep. Thought it'd be something neat. There's probably
there's a video on it.
That's right. Probably about 2020 maybe.
Yeah, it was that first year, I think.
That we went out there to Custer, and the place was still there. We were just there last year, and the place was still there. I seen them.
So we might do a few lives from Loud America before the rally starts. Other than that, we're going to be at the Chip the whole duration of the rally. So all of our lives will be from the Chip once the rally starts on the 4th.
So we're doing a little different this year. So before that, the pre-week of when Black Hills Harleys are going to open up on the, was it 28th, 29th? Is that the first weekend? Last weekend?
Yeah, 29th.
And that'll be, so that from there to that Friday, we'll be all over the place. We'll still be giving you all the great videos. Building up to that, we're going to give you your ride videos, all that great stuff. All the stuff that we've always given you. We've got some great, better stuff. We actually did last year. We did it, and I didn't get them all edited. We actually went out and found great places to stop. We actually found on Needles Highway, Iron Mountain. They had a great lookout you could go to, and we drove by there all the time. We stopped in that parking lot. Didn't know what
I've never walked up to the outlook.
So we're going to show you where that's at and show you all kinds of little different tips that we give you. A lot of people do that. A lot of people go down Needles Highway and they come from Spearfish area. And they're like, I never seen the president's heads. That's because you went the wrong way. You got to go down to Custer State Park and then go up. So you got to.
I guess your guys' honeymoon's going to be in Sturgis, huh?
Yeah, it's going to be in Sturgis.
Well, I don't know if we're talking about yours or ours.
The honeymoon is technically in Sturgis. I just hope it doesn't finish in Rapid City, if you know what I mean. See, I can do that because I know I'm blocked.
So here, I can take care of that. There you go.
Oh, no block.
Where am I at? So Ralph says his dog rides bareback, not in no basket.
Oh.
So there you go.
Yeah, I guess he does it. I couldn't remember. I always see him going by because he always goes, there he is. Because we always do lives on Main. He always drives up and down.
they are going to have a small reception for their immediate family that's going to be there with them. Road King says, always on court for you guys, quality videos when we need one. Shout out to Adam with his ride out to the veterans. You should check it out.
He's
We've
still
been there.
not done. He's still out riding.
Not
Well,
until
the one that was yesterday or today, actually, it was such a big group of people, they had to split it into 2 groups.
Wow.
And so they're all supposed to show up tonight at 4 o'clock, wherever they're at. But I mean, it's tough. One, he's a lot older, which we knew that already, and I kind of made fun of him when we rode with him. We were in Panama City.
and that was only day 20.
Yeah. And, they had a lot of rain. It was cold. He got late. I guess some people must have really gave him a hard time when he got to the dealership like 2 hours late. And I think he almost got to the point where he was going to quit. And that's when he did the video and he kind of said, hey, it is what it is. You can only do what you can do. And if you're standing there waiting on him to be there, you gotta realize we're traveling. It's like them. They came from Phoenix, thought they'd be here at noon. They got here at 2. So things don't always happen when you're on a bike. Traveling doesn't always go the way you plan it. You all know that. And if you're meeting Adam at one of his dealerships that he's going to, and you're like, oh, he's an hour late, that's not right. Well, dude, how about you being in that same situation? If you wanted to meet him that bad, you should have rode out to where he was at and ride in with him. And then you'd have been there at the same time he is. So that's kind of like what we did. We went to where he was leaving from the hotel. We met him at the hotel there in Panama City where they were pulling out from. So he wasn't down there first. There were some other guys that were down there first. And then he came out right before we got ready to leave. And then we all went to Panama City. And we didn't really deal with him too much in Panama. Let him do his thing. And he asked us to come with him on the very last leg where it looks like I think it's a Saturday of Milwaukee's 120th for Harley Davidson. We're going to do our best to be there. But if I look there and there's 1 million people there, we're not going to ride in with him. We'll go there and get some shots for you guys, but we probably won't ride in with him. If it's a crazy crowd, which is probably very well will be, if there's hundreds and hundreds of bikes, you're not really going to ride in with him. We could probably get up there in the front with him, but I'd rather have you guys enjoy it and be involved with it. And you can still give money. We gave money. We gave him $100 the other day when we went on the ride, which I think was only required $20. So give money. You go on its.
The funny thing was the guy from Harley's the one that reached out and said thanks.
Yeah.
Now, can you also just donate to the charity without being in the ride?
Yes. So if you go on his very first page, it took you to. If you go on his regular website, you can go down and there's a thing that talks about it, and then there's a link that you hit on, and it goes to Wounded Warriors. That's where he's got it. And it goes to their website, and it's put under his name. So actually, that's what happened. So the person we know from corporate actually wrote us and said, I thought it was Adam, and said, "Oh, thanks for the donation." And I said, "Who was that?" And she goes, "The guy from corporate." And I'm like, "Oh, I guess they're really watching what's going on over there." So corporate's watching all of us. So
it's like Big Brother.
So, which is fine. And so we're going to do our best to catch up with him at the end. Now, we have a lot of stuff because Harley's reached out to us. They're giving us passes and all kinds of stuff to get into all the events. We're now going to be possibly at the concerts. They actually gave us passes to get in for free. They've got a whole lineup of stuff that they want us to do too. So we'll find out what all happens. We'll be meeting with them hopefully before it all starts and get with them and figure out what we're doing in Milwaukee. So we're going to be giving you some really great insight on the 120th. If you've never been, like I did, I went to the website, I went to YouTube and I searched out anniversaries for Harley Davidson. There's really no videos out there that I can find. And the only thing there is people showing the museum, but there's nobody showing what you see at the dealerships and what's there and because I did the same thing that you guys do. That's why we do our channel the way we do. I go search for this stuff. Hey, if I've never been there, I've been to Wisconsin, but I've never been in, we drove by Milwaukee, but we've never been in Milwaukee. So this will be our first time to be there. So I kind of wanted to get a kind of a lay of the land of where everything's at and where the dealerships are all at, other than just looking at a map. But there isn't nothing out there. So when we're there, we're only going to give you lives while we're there. And then after we get back into Sturgis, we'll start pumping some videos out up until Sturgis gets closer to give you some information about what the 120th was all about.
I think that Harley did a lot for the 100th, but they didn't do it like a rally like they're doing for 120. They did it more as a bike release party that they just showed off all the bikes, the special 100th bikes they were issuing. but they didn't really do it like a rally event like they're doing this year for 120. And I think if this year is a big success for them and they do get as much participation, 125 will be a big event for them too. They'll do it again.
Probably bike accessories.
And no matter what you're thinking about Harley Davidson right now, just like a lot of the people that are on YouTube right now are putting a lot of stuff out. And the only reason they're doing what they're doing is they're trying to get views and they're trying to make big money off of stuff that people are saying. So first of all, the Budweiser can with the Harley emblem, you're like, oh, they're woke. No, they're not. They probably signed up for that at least 6 months to not a year ago. And Harley Davidson and Budweiser, Anheuser-Busch, has been involved on the big anniversaries for many years. So this is something that's been in the books for quite a while. So sometimes I think people are looking for stuff, just like the Bud Light thing. And people ask them, well, which I do. I kind of look around, and when we're at events, we see, a handful of people drinking Bud Light. And I see a lot of people. We've seen last rally, we see more people drinking Michelob Ultra, which is also an Anheuser-Busch product. So you might find out that a lot of the beers you're already drinking are Anheuser-Busch products. So, if you don't want to drink Bud Light, that's great. If you do, that's great too. And, they definitely learned a lesson. But if you look at that can that was sent out, there was no intentions of that can ever being sold to the public.
Like mass production.
Anheuser-Busch has been doing this for years, that they've been sending special edition cans to people with their, just like this cup. It's got Buc-ee's on it. So if I was Buc-ee, they'd say, hey, here, Buc-ee, we're going to put your picture on it because you did something good. Let's send it to you and congratulate you on that. If that girl, because
Buc-ee's, still no credit card.
That's
Let's
right.
go. Let's get them hooked up.
Jenner, what's his first name?
Bruce
Jenner, which now he's
Caitlin.
Whatever the hell he is. So he got one of those cans back then, but you didn't say nothing back then, did you? Because he doesn't have 1 million people on his Instagram account. So you didn't know nothing about it. So yes, should they have done it? All of this, should it all be going on like this? No, it shouldn't. It's dividing the whole country, and it's dividing people, and it's ruining families. It's just crazy stuff that's going on. Don't let this ruin. I've had people that say, oh, I'm not going to any place that Budweiser's sponsoring. Dude, I said, even if you don't want to drink Budweiser beer, I'll sure take their money to make these rallies bigger and better. I got no problem with that, because somebody said, well, somebody else will step up. You're not going to see Coors, or you're not going to see Milwaukee Best, or whatever beer you might drink, Corona. They ain't going to come up and they're not going to sponsor a rally. They're not dumping any money. You get Twisted Tea, you get Budweiser, you get some of the hard liquor that advertises, but nobody's dumping the money that Budweiser is. Other than the exception is Progressive Insurance. Up until this year, we don't know what they'll do next year, but they've dumped a lot of money into the motorcycle community these last couple of years.
So Tom says he's going to be out in around the 3rd and 4th, but we're not going to be there till the 19th. So I don't know when you're leaving. He said he hopes to see us. And then Mike said he just got his $12 Bud Light rebate debit card. Took him 45 minutes to jump through the hoops, and then he had to register before he could use it.
Bud Light rebate card, wasn't that hoop skirts?
But I mean,
So did you see Grandma? Your mom's on too?
No, your mom? Her mom?
No, her mom. Chrissy said, by the way, I got Grandma connected to this.
Oh, hi, moms. much love for moms.
She
I
loves
can't
having
see the
bells.
there. Much love for moms. Much love for moms.
And so it's whatever it is. And I seen something today on thing. Garth Brooks, I guess, is getting ready to open a bar in Nashville, and he's going to have Bud Light on tap. And it's like all these people, most of the people said, congratulations, glad you're opening your bar, A couple people said it's going to ruin your bar. It's not going to ruin your bar. Just like here, we asked Rod, are you going to have, when it all broke out, are you going to have Bud Light there? He says, I don't know what we're going to have yet, but probably will, because there's going to be some people that's going to drink Bud Light. And there's going to be some people that say, hey, I don't want to drink it because I'm standing up for it. But there's so much of this stuff. Chick-fil-A came out. There's nothing going on with Chick-fil-A. It's just people are looking for stuff, especially with social media here. People are looking to make big money. Another one is if you go and check out Ozark Ryder. He went and did a really good one. I didn't know. We've known him for a little while now. I didn't know he was part of corporate America. He had a really big job, and that's what he was explaining too, that it takes 6 months to a year before a major company spends money. I know that too because I work for a big corporation in California. And yes, sometimes it's 2-3 years ahead of time that they're already deciding. How hard is it to decide to put an emblem on a beer can? It wasn't anything fancy that they did. They put the Harley emblem right on top of a Budweiser can. So it wasn't a lot of artwork that had to be done. They just had to get all the legal tender and all this and who's going to get what and who's paying for what. And, you know, Budweiser's putting money into the 120th. But is that going to stop me from going? You know, some people don't like it that they've got, is it Limp Bizkit? Is it Green Day? Green Day's playing there because which is kind of a thing that I would say, you know, they've been pretty anti-American, but we'll see what kind of crowd shows up. But there's probably a lot of people that love Green Day and they're going to come no matter what their beliefs are. I always say that all the time because even on our channel, I don't really want to talk about politics because it shouldn't make used to be America, you had whatever your opinion was.
Yeah.
And just like that, if you want to buy a Bud Light, that's great. If you want to boycott them, that's great too. I'm okay with either one because once again, we're in America and it's your right to be able to do that great stuff. And or at least we're not over in Russia where they're telling you got to drink that Bud Light
Yeah.
or else we'll shoot you.
So Terry Crawford said he'd be at kickstands till the 31st, Lord willing. Lord willing, and the creeks don't rise, right?
Yeah. So a lot of stuff's going on. They're actually, we kind of talked about it a little bit last year. Actually in October, I think we showed you some pictures on it while we were there, that they're widening the 91 at the exit there where kickstands is at, is going to be the new cut through. They're going to end up concreting that all the way to the Buffalo Chip. They're going to take that road to 79 there, which runs in front of Full Throttle. They're going to straighten that out, which I don't know what's going to happen to those campgrounds all along there. They're going to straighten that out, and it's going to come even with the road next to, which is now
Fort Meade Way.
Yeah, Fort Meade Way is what it is now. It will change.
That's your address.
Yeah. So that will be changing. Now it's not done now, but they've been working the biggest on, Rod just told us the other night because he was trying to get off on the exit. They've double laned it. They've stretched it out longer because when you're coming on one highway to another highway, and when is it all going to be done? I don't know. We told you a couple years ago, people were complaining about it. I said, we talked to the county and hey, they're building a road now. What more do you want from us? We can only do so much. I can't make them get it done any faster. But they are working on it and getting it done. So things will be kind of straightening up here in the next couple of years. We should have a nice road there, major highway to ride on to get to the Buffalo Chip. And from the reason they did that is because they do not allow semi trucks going through Sturgis, which is crazy because it's a highway. But there's signs there that tell you at both the exits that you have to bypass it. So it ends up making it a long trip to get around if it's for a trucker. So you wouldn't believe in that Fort Meade Road, which that's what tears that road up. You just see these semis hauling like 50 miles an hour down that road, 60 miles an hour.
It's like bum, 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 bum.
Yeah.
Well, the surface too, it's that honeycomb, ash packed,
Yeah.
rock, gravel mixture stuff. And if it rains a little bit, do not use Fort Meade Way. If it's busy with traffic, don't use Fort Meade Way because it is easy to dump a bike on Fort Meade Way.
You got to be able to ride on rocks. If you can ride on rocks like me, when we rode it, we did it 45, 50 miles an hour, and I still had bikes passing us. We've rode it. I got a video that's going to be coming up probably next week sometime, and it actually shows us driving down the road after they wet it down every morning, which it is. Where the little gravel's not at, it's slick. It's like clay, and so you keep your bike steady. If you know how to ride, not saying you don't know how to ride, but I mean if you hold your bike straight, don't do any stupid things with your bike, jerking it around. You know, it's just like riding gravel. I've never dropped my bike, and then me and Art rode down a riverbed one time, and that was a choice we made.
Hey, with me on this side of the camera, I almost forgot. Have you clicked the thumbs up button for the like videos for what you're getting here this evening? Hit the thumb, give us the likes. That helps them continue to expand the channel and helps continue expanding rally coverage. They put in the time and the effort, give them a like for it. And if not, like this beautiful face right here, right there. Look at that smile. That smile lights up a room right there.
So talking about things going on, Laconia. Now, a lot of people have complained, and I put a thing up, and actually I'm kind of really shocked right now. I've been looking at a couple of the videos and stuff that are coming out of Laconia. It's pretty sad. I think there's actually less people right now there than there was last year.
Uh-oh.
Because when they showed the Rick Rack tent, there was 4 people in the Rick Rack tent.
Wow.
I don't know when the last time I seen 4 people in the Rick Rack tank. Usually there's 25 to 50 people in that Rick Rack tank. There was 4 this morning when he was filming through it. And I was like, oh my
And
gosh.
this is opening weekend
That's
for
right.
the 100th rally,
Yep.
and nobody's there. It's
And now it did rain Friday. It was raining, and Saturday morning they had a little bit of rain. So because Emory's going up there, Emory HVAC, they're supposed to be going up. They're going to send us some pictures and stuff. But once they get up there and see what it is, we'll get a little bit more insight. I've seen a little bit of Adam. Amzol Adams been putting a couple of videos out already. Mixie Philly is actually out, which I don't know if he took our idea or not, but he's out at Bentley's over in Maine. And so he's not got a lot of, some of his friends are saying, can't you come over one night and film? I don't think you'll be able to do that. But I'm really shocked because I thought this being the 100th, there would be 100,000 people there. And that town cannot hold 100,000 people. But by so far what I'm seeing, now we haven't called any of the vendors
We
yet.
could call
We can call a lot of people. Call Speeds or,
Rod from that let us stay on his property last year.
well, and it depends if he's down there or not.
call
I'm sure he's
Adam.
up there.
Adam will answer your call.
Well, yeah, but Adam's over at the Speedway. The Speedway's a whole different ball of wax. It's
Well, if
25
the
miles from town.
Speedway's dead, then
No.
we know the main rally's dead, or the
No,
World
the
Race
Speedway's
First.
dead.
always dead. Last year we went there and they had the racing motorcycles. If there was 500 people in the stands, it was more like 100 people probably
Yeah, there was
watching this race.
Well, and we talked about this last year after the. You said that some of the land that the rally's normally held on has been sold.
Yeah,
And the premise was that they could have the 100th rally, but after that land goes
Yeah.
away.
Mhm.
Now I've heard other things too. Somebody else told me that that's not true, but the land's sold. So to me, condos are going to make more money than what he's going to make once a year on a rally. But I mean, I don't know. And a lot of people wanted us to be there. The problem with Laconia really isn't a problem. One problem for us is 2,700 miles away. So it's not justifiable for us to go. Plus, if we would have stayed like we did last year and go up the coast, we got all that time we're killing, like we already do in Florida. So we would have ended up not even coming home. We would have ended up going to Milwaukee and then went to Sturgis, and we would have been gone from February till about the end of August before we ever got home. So here I've got a lot of work done in the shop. But some of the things I look at Laconia is Laconia doesn't have a whole lot of stuff going on. You know, they have a couple bike shows, maybe two. They have a vintage ride, which we really like. You guys should check that
Oh,
out.
yeah.
We put it on our Facebook page. Remember what the vintage ride's called? You can look that up and see what they sent you something, didn't they?
Yeah.
And a vintage bike, go watch the guys leave because it's all these guys go on this ride, and they called us one know if we were going to
They
be
have
able to
like the
share.
leather helmets and the big goggles and the scarves around their neck. It looks like
It's
they
really
were
neat. It's really neat.
way back in the
Last
day.
year we went on the Bentley that owns the bar over in Maine. He came over and we had a ride over with him with a group. That was a lot of fun. Enjoyed
It's called
that.
the annual Laconia Antique Motorcycle Ride-In, and it's Thursday the 15th. So if you're up that way,
And where's it at?
and it starts at
The shopping center. What's that red thing? What's in this red thing?
Weren't the bikes you showed from last year?
Tangler Outlet Lot in Tilton, New Hampshire.
The bikes you showed last year were all like 1919s and
That
stuff.
was this.
Yeah, that's all these ancient,
Yeah.
really
It
original.
was cool. It was really neat. The people were very friendly, and they all run. So it's neat just to film. And we filmed that last year. You can go back and look for that video. But it was a really great group. I should probably do something for them. Maybe put a little bit of that video out and add it to one of them and let you guys know. That'd be something neat to go to. But we spent 3 days out there. I think we rode about 1,500 miles. Maybe it was more. Maybe it was 4 days we rode, and rode all around out there. And the riding's okay, but I mean, it's just there isn't a lot of events going on. It's
Out
not
in
a
the
thing.
clouds, a neat place to go.
Yeah.
Out
There's
there.
not. It's not Daytona. It's not Sturgis. I wouldn't even consider it a Myrtle Beach. It's a nice rally. But there's just not, the Weir Beach Road that they close off. About all there is freaking t-shirt places, and I think the same guy owns them all. And there's one bar down there, which is, remember what the name of the bar was?
Hightower.
That's a pretty neat bar, but it's very crowded because there's not much else going on down there. There's the other one at the other end that you can go to that's got a little cafe. You can kind of sit up in a gazebo and look out and have some drinks. But that's about it.
If you know anybody with the boat, they'll take
Yeah, we
you
went out on a boat, and that was interesting. It was neat to go out and see that. So
Is that what they had there? Was it the flat track races? Is that what they had out there?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what they said. AMA Pro Flat Track
Yeah.
Races. Is that what it was? Okay.
and it was sad. There was hardly nobody in the stands. And then we went out twice where Adam was at, and one was a busy day and one wasn't. And even at that, there still wasn't more than a couple of hundred people out there at the time, which is sad. And so we'll see how it all turns out this year. Adam always ended up doing all right the last year he's been out there. So, he'll probably be all right this year too. But like today's video he put out, actually had the same bike that he had in there the other day. So I don't know what happened there. That video overlapped 2 days. I think it was a CBO or something was sitting on the rack, I think. But
I don't know. He said he saw it, loved riding the White Mountains. I guess that's what they're called up there, and going to the Maine coast for lobster. Yeah.
And that's what I would ask you. Does Maine and the Vermont and Massachusetts, do they participate in Laconia like all the locations around Sturgis?
that's the only problem with Laconia is, other than Laconia,
They're very
nobody else gives a crap about any of us bikers. Okay, these towns that are out there aren't open. They don't do anything. There's one little town there that has got where we stopped at the Chamber of Commerce. It got some maps and stuff. There's a few gas stations there, and I think a Jack in a Box or something like that. And the Chamber of Commerce. That's right when you get off on the roads. But then when you go through all these little towns, they're closed up during the week. They only open up on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They're local people. They don't care. They're not really there for bikes. They're there for their local
people.
Customers. They could care less about the rest of us. So that's the problem when you're out there. We were in the problem looking for gas. We wish we would have filmed the crazy man and the wife that fed us that day at the convenience store.
That would have been a
They were on
video.
crack or something.
No, they were just
No soup for you. No soup for you.
pretty much.
No hamburger for you.
They were mainlining maple syrup.
And so we went over we rode over there into Maine, and we weren't that far from the coast. And they said, so it was a 1 day ride. Went over there to Bentley's, checked out the bar. That's a cool bar. And that's where Mexican Philly's at. And you can check that out. Yeah. And it's a really neat bar. If I ever went back to Laconia, that's where I would stay. I really like that. But we were thinking about going over and saying, hey, let's just go ride to the coast. And they said it'd be 2 to 3 hours to ride the 25 or 30 miles there. They said the traffic over there is just insane. Now, we didn't have any real traffic going over there from Laconia to where Bentley's was at. We didn't really have any traffic really getting there. But they said once you get over, there's a highway that runs up and down the coast there. From there over there, it's just insane.
Kind of like Martha's Vineyards. There's just everybody goes to the coast on the weekends. And they said
so we didn't even go. We were like, well, there's no way, because they said if it's going to take us an hour or two to get over there and then an hour or two to get back, it's going to be.
And then 2 hours to get home.
Yeah.
And that was already a long day for me to be on the bike.
So it ended up, we didn't do that. But that's the only thing, if you're talking about going to the coast and stuff like that, you may end up having to go over, find a place to spend the night, and come back the next day if you want to do something like that. But to go over and come back in the same day, you may be spending a lot, especially on the weekend. If you maybe get over there, do it tomorrow, Tuesday or something, you might be okay. But you know how people are. This is summer now. Kids are off school, and some schools, and people are taking vacations now. So you got all the tourist stuff going on and stuff.
If your kid's going to school now, they need to study harder. Summer school.
Oh yeah, one of our grandsons in California doesn't get out of school till what?
The end of June.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Now, is he taking like an advance?
No.
That's right. It's just a school.
It's just a school year, just because
They get a lot of spring break. They get those 3 weeks every couple of months. They get 3 weeks off.
So it's kind of like year-round school almost.
Almost.
And they'll go, but they don't start till after Labor Day either.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the way it used to be. But
So
anyway,
give us the breaking scoop. Do you think this is the last year of Laconia?
I don't know. The city came on here. It's like somebody said the other day that they expect 800,000 bikes there. What are they, smoking crack? 800,000 bikes come into Laconia. They've never been 800,000 bikes in Laconia. Lucky if there was that many in Sturgis, which I don't even believe that either. But, I don't know. It kind of depends on the cities. What happens with a lot of these rallies is you've got the cities, like here, I've seen a bunch of newscasts from, the mayor came on. What was funny was the chief of police, what he said is, we're looking for DUIs on motorcycles. That's pretty much all of you. So if you're in Laconia and you're having a beer, they're looking for you. Not like a lot of like when you're out Norman Beach and you're in Sturgis, they know you've had a drink or two. As long as you're not out there wobbling around or stumbling like a drunk, they're not even going to pull you over. And we have a video where we're gonna be talking about that real soon. We haven't had a chance to do our Daytona one to talk about. We've talked to the police chief. We found some information about people getting pulled over, why things happen the way they do. And this actually happens at all rallies. And no matter if we talk to the chief or not, like here, we talked to the Ormond Beach, we talked to the chief in Sturgis. We got the chief set up now for Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue. We're going to be meeting with him, maybe having 2 interviews there because there's 2 towns involved. But so we get
We
you
also
that.
talked to the police in Myrtle.
Oh, that's
The
right.
sheriff.
So it's neat that we get some of these people to do that, but when we talk to them, we only get to hear their side from their department, not what happens in other departments, and that's what we're going to talk about when we get our video going on that, because we got some good information on the Popo.
Yes, Rider X. This is Mike and Patsy. For those of you just joining,
And they're
in.
going to Sturgis.
Yeah, are you and Angie going to Sturgis?
No, let me answer that question for you, X. Yeah, I'm going to Sturgis. No, I'm not. My bike's not fixed. My bike is fixed. Something else is broken. I'm going to Sturgis. I'm not going to Sturgis. I'll be there. The missus is coming. She doesn't want to go. We're both going. We're not going. We'll see you at Sturgis. There you are. We'll see you August 4th.
Yeah.
Did I cover it, X? Did I hit that right? Did I get all the in sequence?
Now he's going to come get you.
Yeah. Now he's got to come see
Well,
you.
my brother
Face
knows
to
I
face.
love him. My brother knows I love him. But X, we played this game last year. I know the score of this game. It's 0-0. Get your butt to Sturgis.
Mike
Yeah.
came and even spent a week in the hospital.
Yeah. Almost
I
died.
it took me almost dying for this woman to realize she loved me.
Yep.
Tell I'm fibbing.
He's not fibbing.
This woman came and rescued me at my lowest point. She saw me when I was at the bottom of the barrel. And luckily, I had some great friends that helped me in addition with what Patsy did for me. If a woman loves you at your lowest point, that's the woman you dedicate your life to being with, because that's what matters. It's not who shows up in good times. It's not who's there when you got the winning Powerball ticket.
I wish.
It's those that show up bedside and graveside. Those are your friends and family. Those are the ones you look out for. And because of the Sturgis Rally, I've met a lot of people that not only would do that for me, I would do that for them.
Isn't that one?
That's
And
what I was thinking.
that's no excuses this year. No more of the
You got to come.
you got to be there for this. This is
Neil and George. And
Well,
all
Neil
the
be there.
guys.
Neil's got his Friday pass.
Neil.
Right.
He's
He
not on
does.
yet. So I don't know where Neil's
I
at.
don't
We
know.
didn't send sled dogs to Alaska to
No.
notify Neil that there would be a live this evening.
Yeah.
Rider X says she sounds like a keeper.
She is, X. She is.
And, but his wife wants to come to Sturgis this year. She wants to hear all those great bands.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Granny Panty Night. Oh, my gosh.
Granny Panty.
We
REO Speedwagon.
Oh.
Go ahead. we
Yeah,
call
That's what
this
he calls it.
I call this all right. Tuesday night. That is the 7th. No, that's the 8th. Tuesday night, the 8th is REO Speedwagon at the Buffalo Chip. Definitely worth it. But a lot of the slightly advanced ladies of our group, concerts, bands, music are panty
giving you a
droppers.
dirty look.
I know, are panty droppers. I love REO Speedwagon and Sticks, but let's call a spade a spade. That's a granny panty dropper right there.
So we'll see all of that. We may have
What
some of
cabin
them.
are you staying in?
We're in South Haven 40, cabin number 26.
So we'll be. Some of them we may be having on our channel, so you have to wait and see who our guests will be. For those that don't get to come, you may want to check out the lives and see who we're going to be dragging up there. Some of these bands we can get up because they don't have production companies and producers and advertising, whatever they are. But some of them will not allow us to talk to them, take a picture with them, or anything. ZZ Top's one of them people that you can't even talk to them, and they won't give you the time of day. That's just the way they are, and that's the way they work. And people are like that, and we found that out because some of the times you just can't do it. And so we'll see. But I know we got a few of the bands we've already contacted, and we should have up in the booth to meet with you guys and talk to you, or we might have him on a camera afterwards, depending if it's later at night. There's a lot of neat stuff coming.
I'm looking forward to seeing George too.
George Thorogood.
Thorogood. He's one of my favorites. Yeah.
And so that should be a good concert. We maybe will get him up too, because he's not a big name anymore. He plays a lot of the casinos and goes out and stuff like that. He does do a great show, and it's nice that he's the first act, so he'll be kind of hanging around a little while, and he may be staying at the Chip overnight too. Some of the guests actually stay all night at the Chip. They've got some VIP trailers out there they put them in, and we know where they're at now. And so we might be getting some of them on the channel, and just a whole lot of neat stuff going on this year that we never had able to do.
Hey, our Facebook user that's in the hospital, we need to know who you are. You have to
It's Tony. How are you doing, Tony? What's going on?
Is that Tony in the hospital?
Tony Huffman, yeah.
Oh, okay. Hey, get better. I can relate. I've been there, done that.
Well, take care. Our prayers are with you, Tony.
One of the things that Mike and I are going to make sure that we do when we ride in to Sturgis on Thursday, when we get in there, we are going to stop at Wyatt's Lemonade Stand.
Oh, yeah.
That is our whole caravan or motorcade is going to be dropping in on them. And because I just love Wyatt.
Yeah.
I love everything that he stands for. He's a young entrepreneur who has a lot of civic mindedness in him, humanity. And, it's a worthy cause because he donates to his favorite charities. He does a lot of fundraising, and also to the money that they also get, it goes into his education fund. So he's 10, I think, this year. And his parents are great supporters of what he's doing. And they told us, make sure you let us know who you are when you come by. We've got probably about
30 vehicles in our caravan coming up Thursday.
Yeah, and we're gonna just storm them. And we're going to have a really good time talking and chatting with Wyatt. So make sure that you stop and talk to Wyatt and buy some lemonade. Donate to his cause. Even if you don't
drink lemonade for
sugar.
free, donate to the cause.
That's right.
So you can also go to our page that's running along here, our Facebook page. And Devin is his dad, and he's one of our moderators that is on that channel. He helps keep everything in line for and stuff. So if you see him on there, that's
Wyatt's dad.
Yeah. So you can check that out. And they put a lot of stuff up there. And if they don't get it up there, I do. They actually got a poker run going on. I think it's the 7th or the 8th. They've got a poker run. It's actually not too bad. And the top card's going to get, I think it's $500 spending at Black Hills Harley. And so it's a 2-day ride. You take 2 days. You can pick up your card, and then you go and do all the stuff. And it's a passport. And once you get all the passport, I think you come back to Wyatt's Lemonade Stand. Then you pull your cards. And then they write them down, and then they'll find out who the winner is. So that's kind of neat. And it's a couple of neat places he's got that he's going to. One of the places I don't know where it's at. Most of them I've already been there, but the other one I have to check out.
She hasn't even heard about the Wyatt's Lemonade stuff yet.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm sure your mom's mentioned it, hon.
Facebook.
Yeah, it's on Facebook. Now, one thing I have to ask. We're 55 days out from rally.
I know, it's getting close.
We're missing bands.
He's not going to probably tell you, well, the Friday night one is out. I don't think they're really going to, I don't think they're going to announce it. It's actually Buck Cherry is doing Friday night. It actually is already on their poster. One of the very first posters that they printed up has Buck Cherry on it. So that's the Friday one. The opening bands, I just don't think, I don't know. The Saturday, don't look for any big headliners on Saturday. Saturday is going to end up, the last Saturday is going to end up being a party day. Going to be a lot of stuff going on. Rod's looking at maybe doing some really fun stuff, and expensive stuff. So we'll see what happens. It might be possible that while you're there, you may be able to purchase your pass for next year so ridiculously priced that you will be drop dead crazy not to buy it then. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen or not. He's been talking about a couple different things that he's thinking about doing and seeing if he can work it into place. But there might be some, but you have to be on the property on that Saturday to get these great things that he's going to be doing. So, because he's going to try to really build up Saturday, and Saturday might not be a real big headliner. But it might be some fun bands. We know who they are, but it might be some more fun bands. That's just good, just a good time to finish up on the rally. A lot of times what happens is the Friday and Saturday at the end of the rally, most of the campgrounds and bands have ended up being more for locals. And it ends up being, that's why a lot of them will bring in the rap music or whatever they do on that last weekend. And the Buffalo Chips kind of decided they don't really want to do that anymore. So the last year they didn't do it. They're not planning on doing it this year again. So they're wanting to try to make it that last Saturday a blowout. We thought downtown was going to have the race downtown. If you watched the video the other day, that's not going to happen now just because of logistics and money. Things just can't be done. The track, even though it had been on Main Street, it would circle. It'd either go out to Junction or go out to LaSalle, or it would go the other way and go by the police station. And it would be a circle track that they were going to make. Well, the corners were going to cost so much, plus it was going to take so much time to get it built that they had to put a shit off and maybe for next year. So that's not going to happen. We are hearing that very possibly the flat track at the Chip may be happening this year. Now, we told you the other day that it wasn't going to be to 2024, but we've been just told yesterday it's a very big possibility. It's not on the list yet. But how hard is it to make a freaking dirt track? You know, for a flat track to come out there and plow up some ground, throw some stands up, you know, maybe that's what our informer that told us the information, maybe that's what they're thinking. Because somebody else we talked to at the Chip said, nope, it probably ain't going to happen this year. They're not even here. We don't even know where we're on the list. We are on the list to get a flat track, but don't know when. But we were told by somebody else yesterday that it looks like we may be having flat track racings on, might be that last Saturday. So that'll be pretty neat. So we'll see how that all works out. And as we get more information, we'll be feeding that all to you guys and stuff. But you can go to the Buffalo Chips website, and they've got a lot of their agenda already up. So
go to daily events. Go under events and then schedules and then daily schedule. And it's timeline, hour by hour, and where it's all going to be at. Camp Zero, Bikini Beach.
And hopefully
Crossroads.
we'll be put on there and say Bob and Tam at 5:00 every day. So we'll see if we get in on the website.
On the live, well, we'll see.
See if we get put on there.
So
Now
your
the city itself is having some pretty big events too, but all the bars, the big one and everybody asked me about on the 83rd is Jasmine Kane.
Yeah, she's
Kickstand.
playing mainly at Kickstand. I think now she has done Glencoe one night. Now, I don't know if this year she has, but there's several. I think there's 4 or 5 nights. She's actually going to be there the Thursday because I heard Monkey talking about it. The Thursday night before Friday that she's going to be out there, and also the Badgers. That if you know the Badgers or you're in the support bike group, they're going to have I think a meet and greet or something going on. I heard him say something. I had talked to the Badgers about that. I haven't seen their full schedule yet of all the things they're getting ready for their Route 66 ride and getting that all in ready to go. So I haven't get a chance to really talk to them about what they're doing up until that. It also depends on how they get there, because after they do Route 66, they're going to take a couple weeks and go up the coast and go into Sturgis. So I don't know for sure what day they're planning on getting there. But Jasmine Kane is playing mostly at kickstands.
And before she
And that's all
always
free
been at
concerts.
Glencoe.
Yeah. Well, she kind of played a little bit of all the bars. Last year, I think she it was at the last minute. I think she just called up and said, hey, nobody's called me. I think she did the Iron Horse, she did kickstands, she did Glencoe. She kind of did a turn of all of them.
There you go.
Because we always say she's one of the more popular biker bands. A lot of people like Jasmine Kane, and she's a great girl. She's been on our channel a couple of times. Really great, and we'll probably see her again this year.
And the other fan favorite that we get a lot of questions about, Hairball.
Yep. Now they are going to be playing at the Iron Horse, and I don't know if it's 4 nights this year. The bad thing about a lot of this is a lot of these bars wait too long. And now I can say, when we talked to Rod, which we did look last year, and when they are in 2021 is when Kid Rock played. That was announced when you looked that up the other day, 2021 when Kid Rock was announced. What month was it announced?
August, it was
Mhm.
Yeah, it was November.
Yeah, November of that same year of 2020. In November, he was already announcing Kid Rock for 2021. So when you say, well, why did it take him so long this year to say? Well, when we asked him, when we went in there and talked to him 3 days after the rally, we met with Rod. And I said, can you just tell us who the bands are? So we can have videos made up so we can put them out right away. And he says, honestly, I have no freaking idea who they're going to be yet. And I'm like, what do you mean? He says, I've sent contracts out and we're waiting for them to come back. He says, a lot of these bands, I don't know what's with them. Things are going to, actually, they were expecting Kid Rock to be here this year. And I don't think he's going to show up. His touring date right now stops in July. But Rod spent a bunch of time with him, 4 or 5 days with him at his mansion down there in Tennessee. I seen the pictures and I'm like,
Southern White House.
he was right here in Laughlin and we rode on his plane. I'm like, dude, you didn't call me? I'd have gone.
That's like where
I'd
you
have hung out there
are,
and slept on the couch or something.
Well, and Snoop Dogg was the one that announced at the end of '81 that the last Saturday of the rally at the Chip, they announced Snoop Dogg was playing the next year, and we saw how well that worked out for everybody.
Well, see, a lot of times you don't know. And like I say, bands now are just, with the pandemic that happened and all that stuff. And like Rod says, a lot of times Kid Rock wanted to come to the Chip this year, but you also have to check with the bands and you have to check with the promoter that's actually planning the series. Kid Rock's actually talked last year about this. He may not even come out at all this year. He was thinking about retiring. So, there's still a possibility, but there's really not a night for a headliner other than the last Saturday, which is what I told Rod when he first did it. I said, that's the night you should have him play because that would get everybody to stay longer to see Kid Rock on that last Saturday.
That would rock the rally out.
But typically when people say, what part of the rally should I come to? You should come to the first weekend. The first weekend is always the biggest weekend of the biggest bands are playing everywhere. It kind of kicks it off to get people there. And if you want to be less crowded, you want to come that last weekend. It's not quite as crowded. Like Glencoe, for instance, by Tuesday of the rally, people are pulling out already. Glencoe is like a ghost town. By the time you get to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Come for that first weekend and then book it.
That's right. And so if you're looking to party, and you want to go to Glencoe and be in that kind of crowd. And I want to say too, we were talking about the Monkey Man, professional monkey. You guys sure really dump the pineapples on him. Every place we see him, they hang pineapples on his trailer, on his bike, everything. He just dug himself a ditch there. I don't know, but it's just funny as heck, and he just laughs it off, and he's a really good sport about it and stuff. But I mean, I didn't realize it, and when we came out one morning, his trailer had them all hanging on, the bikes all had them hanging on it, and I'm like, I guess they got you going on. He said, yeah. He said last year they did it, but he did it to the trailer next to us.
They did it on the wrong trailer.
So he said he got the laugh on that one. I said, well, at least they remember something. And if it's pineapples, it's pineapples. And every once in a while somebody will put a pineapple on ours. And because I think we're the ones that ended up telling him, because he didn't know what a pineapple was and didn't, because I don't know what, a couple of years ago, he was talking all about pineapples and, oh yeah, I'm going to put a pineapple and I'm doing all this. And somebody said, do you know what an upside down pineapple is? And he came back and started asking people and they told him that that's a swinger thing. And he's like, oh, didn't know that. And we're not swingers. But nobody's going to let him forget about the pineapples.
No.
He needs to get him a pineapple hat.
So Droop's on and he went on his little adventure. He did it solo. And went and rode Tail of the Dragon and did all that and stayed in the tent. And Roseanne Ryder, I don't know which one, told wanted to know if he was able to get up off the ground on his tent.
What day did you go on Tail of the Dragon and how crowded was it? That's the only thing I look at, like Tail of the Dragon. People tell me Tuesday's like the best day to go. And because it's like we used to ride in California. And if you go up to Mulholland Drive, which is where the
Rock store.
The rock store is at. And you see Jay Leno and you see all these biker guys and famous people and stuff. You see all kinds of neat people there, plus a lot of other bikes. And that's a road like that. And that's where we've learned, which we're going to talk about that in riding. That's a really good, if you're an inexperienced rider and you want to learn how to stay in your lane, that's a road to ride on. Because you're not even in your own lane. So that's one of the roads, which I think Tail of the Dragon's like this. You're going down these roads, even in a curve. You're in the inside turn, and here comes a crotch rocket on the outside lane, in your lane, flying past you about 90 miles an hour, and you're doing 60 in the turn. And it's a 30-mile-an-hour turn. So you learn to stay in your lane, or not really your lane, you learn to stay on your side of the road because they're in your lane because cars are coming this way, and they're in. So you learn that. And I noticed that a lot when we ride on, especially windy roads, that like we had a guy last year that was on Bon Knocker Road. And this guy's in front of us, and he's kind of all over the road like this. and there's really no place to pass. So we pulled over and we did a little video talking about Ballinacker Road. And we got back on the bike and catch up with him again. Here he is all over the road again. I can't get around him. Even in his lane, I can't get in around there. Well, that's one of the things you should look at. You should be looking in your mirrors all the time. You should be looking forward and looking back, glancing back and seeing what's behind you. Because if there's somebody that's got more skill, or maybe it's just a crazy guy behind you, you might want to pull a little bit over, and especially like Needles Highway and Iron Mountain. That's what all those little turnouts are. Turnouts. You pull over. Let them fly past you. Let them have their fun that they want. And if you want to drive at the speed limit or even under the speed limit, you got that right to do that. I'm not stopping you. But be courteous for the people behind you. Same thing if you're in a freaking car. Get over the road, butthole. What the hell you're even doing on the road during a rally? I don't know. But we almost got hit a couple years ago. It was a foreign person coming around because Needles Highway doesn't have any stripes on the road. Here's this guy in my lane, and we're coming at him. And I'm yelling, giving him the high sign, and he's just driving along.
No,
Thought
he's
he
looking
wanted
around.
falafels.
He's looking around. He was looking at the scenery is what he was
And it's
doing.
like, so you just got to be very observant and be courteous to
I guess he
people.
didn't ride the dragon. He said that they had a rally at the Welcome Center,
Oh.
and there was too many bikes to ride the dragon for him. He said he wasn't going to do that. So Ryder X wants to know how old Droop is. Don't tell him because he'll tell the world. No.
Yeah.
Steven says no one thanks Jesus Christ.
We have three lines of communication:
I do.
telephone,
Thank you, Jesus.
telegraph, telenex.
So a lot of excitement, and then there's a lot of stuff that's going to be building up here. We actually we pull out here tomorrow, Tuesday afternoon. We're going over to California, going to see the grandkids and all that. One of them's thinking about moving to Kansas City.
No, Wichita.
I know Kansas, whatever.
Someplace with corn.
And snow.
And
Damn.
tornadoes.
And
Oh
so
my.
we'll go check them out because they may be moved by the time we get back. And so we'll see how that all turns out. She got to do her doctor appointments and all that kind of stuff. And then we come back home. I have almost a week to work in the garage, get everything else done. We got the trailer all done. I didn't put any video on that though. I did have the brakes, got them all adjusted up, got all the wheel bearings. Somebody said, are you changing the grease seals? Of course, you're going to put the wheel bearings out. You're going to change grease seal. Put all new grease seals in it. Got that all ready to go.
Uh-oh. Storm warnings. I thought I heard stuff.
Sorry guys, that's me.
It's
That's all.
no, it's all of us.
That's them too.
All of the phones are going off.
What's this thing?
A flash flood warning. I thought because
It ain't going to rain.
I
We
heard
don't get
that.
any rain here.
Flash flood.
We're in this pocket of nothing. A lot of wind and a lot of sun.
Well,
So garage has been coming along. We got a video that I'll be putting out. I've gotten quite a bit of stuff done. Got some help from Jim. Jim came over and helped me 2 days, and I got a lot going. And so I got a whole video that I've been kind of filming each day, kind of what we did. Got the room pretty much painted. She got to go back in and do a little touching up because when she pulled the green tape off, what's it called?
frog tape, and it ain't worth because we had the blue tape, and I've always used it, but it always still kind of bled through. So I got the frog tape, paid the extra for it, put it on, sealed it down really good. I even used the little edger thing when I painted. It's still all bled through. So I'm not very happy. No, I'm just going to get corners and put in it.
well, it is tape for frogs.
Yeah, but
Well, they say it's supposed to not bleed through.
They
when
say
you
nothing about
paint.
pulling it off and taking half your paint with you.
Well, that was the other.
Poor frogs.
So
Oh, what did I do?
I have
Why is
no
all
idea.
that blue?
I
Half
have
blue.
no idea.
I don't know. I got blue everywhere.
Did you frog tape the notebook there?
I don't know. It's blue.
Just come on now.
Blackie Red Hawk said he always heard that playing flamingo standing beside an RV camper means the same as an upside down pineapple.
I've heard something about that. I don't know about that, but I have
And
heard
you
somebody
let me
say
buy all those flamingos?
they run up on one leg.
Does one leg mean?
I don't know. I don't know what it means. I've never heard that. I've heard somebody say something
Well,
about flamingos, but I don't
We
know.
went to Camp Easy Ride and they say, oh, you're supposed to decorate up your tent. And I'm like, okay. So we go to the dollar store, we buy all this stuff. Well, they had all this red, white, and blue stuff. I said, you want to get that? He's like, no. And he was looking at this other stuff. He says, we can get these flamingos. All right. So we bought all these
We didn't hit
flamingo
them up anyway.
stuff. Yes, we did. I had them out in front of the tent. I had the little,
I don't think they're up on
Flappy
one leg.
bird.
I don't think they're up on
the
one
one
leg.
was, the blow up one was. That was
Bobby
on
the whole time he was just trying something new.
Dollar store. What the hell do you expect? But I don't know nothing about flamingos. I never heard that. I've heard somebody say something about flamingos, but I didn't. I mean, there's a lot of different stuff. Pineapples is the big one. So if you go to Glencoe, you will see upside down pineapples hanging from some of the trailers in the row there. the Boob Road. Go down there, you'll see I'm right there. So if you
We
want to
know
see
that
them,
because we live off Lake Havasu, and you would not believe how many people get killed on the water in Lake Havasu.
and Parker had a bunch of boats a couple years ago got flipped over and died. So yes, we know about
So Christy wants to know what we're going to tell Grandma about all this.
That's the fourth. That's an in-family
Tell the
line
grandma
of communication. Tell grandma about it. Yeah, that goes around.
Yes. A wave by, give me cars anytime, lollygagging, sightseeing. Yes. That's what I think that foreign guy that was on Iron Mountain, he was more looking around and trying to see everything than watching the road and where he was
because it is.
going.
I always tell people that when you're riding,
Okay.
and the videos we're going to be putting out this year is going to talk about that again. That if you're riding your bike on Iron Mountain, Needles Highway, any of these roads that are really twisty, you need to pay attention to the road. You can't be looking around, or you're going to kill yourself or kill somebody else because you just can't. It's just if you're doing any kind of speed, you have to concentrate. It's just like if you're a race car driver or a motorcycle racer, they're not looking around in the stands to see who's looking at them. They're watching the track and they're doing what they're doing. So that's why I'm going to talk about how you should do these rides to enjoy them. Now it's me talk about your
Pink tacos.
That's by
Woman in the boat.
what's the singer?
No, there was
No, the
there was
singer.
a restaurant in Hard Rock that was called Pink Tacos.
Yeah, but there was a song called one.
Pink Tacos?
That song from can't think of it.
I don't know.
A rocker. Pink Cadillac.
Oh, Pink Cadillac.
But
That's
it-
not pink. That says Pink Tacos in it.
No, but that's talking the same thing.
Bruce
Springsteen. Pink taco and a pink Cadillac. The pink Cadillac, when you're oozing in the seat, it gives you the idea of listen to the song.
And the stream has officially gone off the
I've seen the
chain.
pineapple.
Listen to
It's
Pink
by-
Cadillac by Bruce Springsteen and listen to the words.
Him and Katie got into
Oh,
it
yeah.
one
Because
night.
Katie said, no, some girl wrote the song. I said,
Aretha
"No,
Franklin
not.
or somebody
No,
sang it.
Well, I
too.
ended up, I don't argue with people. I Google stuff and then I look it up. And it ended up being Aretha Franklin wrote a woman's version of it about a guy versus the Pink Cadillac was about a girl. And so finally she came up to me, Katie came up and said, you're right. Bruce Springsteen had the one, and this one was really, that's the only one I ever heard. So I don't know how you never heard a Bruce Springsteen version.
No, that would be the pink Oscar Mayer Wienermobile.
No, it still said Pink Cadillac, but it was a
Yeah,
girl,
they had different
girl
words.
and
there.
herself.
Yeah.
They're distinctly different.
Yeah.
And
So-
for those of you wondering at home and watch my little Meg Goyette comments come through funny like that, you see I'm exactly the same in person that I respond with out there.
This clock, that clock, where is it at?
It's
There.
There's the
It don't work, and he won't take it down.
This is my Harley clock.
Hey.
They don't make it. It's a collector's item.
It's right twice a day.
Yeah. Well, once in a while we put a new battery in it and it works for quite a while.
No.
And then one time you put a battery in it and
20
it lasts.
minutes.
You know, it lasts.
That's quite a while.
One time it did last almost a week. It used to work all the time.
Yeah.
He needs to buy a new mechanism to put on the back if he wants to keep
A
it.
new what?
Mechanism. that brain part of the clock that don't work no more.
Okay.
It's like a picture on the wall.
It's a piece of art. That's what it is. It ain't a clock.
It's right twice a day.
Yeah.
See, if you get it to work for a week,
We should put 5 o'clock on there and we always tell
Yeah.
you we're at
5
5 o'clock
o'clock.
time.
hey, 5 o'clock.
It's 5 o'clock here. Margarita time.
But you get so used to it working, and then this 8th day when it quits working, you're late.
No, it's what it is. It's like all of a sudden, it's like, what time is it? I'm like, oh,
She
you
look at your
can't.
phone. She got 2 phones in her pocket all the time. And she can't pull the phone out and look and see what time it is.
It's much easier just to look on the wall. It's
Clock
the
in our
clock.
bedroom is 10 minutes off.
It's the best. That's so when you say we need to get up and get going, I know I got a little extra time. But he
Now
always
we gotta
says
move
that.
it up 20
He always
minutes.
says, I always say, what time do I need to be ready by? And I'm always ready by the time he tells me. But if I get up a little earlier because I want to do something else, he thinks I'm up and ready to go. And it's like, let's go, let's go. It's like, I still got 30 minutes. Well, you're up, let's go.
Time to rock and roll.
Yeah, I
It's
heard that
very
this
frustrating.
morning.
She should be used to it after 44 years.
You
She'd
would
be
think
used to it.
so. You would think so. I just noticed it was off. It's always off.
Well, it worked. Some of the times we've had the video on. Normally I don't show the clock, but since there's 4 of us, I had to Push this way back. You're almost seeing the
Push
whole
it
living
back,
room
push
here.
it back. Almost, pretty close.
Somebody's asking where I got that picture at here. And I ordered off of eBay or one of them things popped up and I was looking. I don't know.
Etsy,
I think,
probably.
yeah, I'm not sure where it was. Because I got another one in the garage. If you ever see older video, it's a Harley emblem. I actually did it the other way. I ordered the material and I stapled it on myself. Because you get I mean, this was cost me like $76 or something for this one. But the one I got out of the garage, the other one, I only paid like $25 for it. And I got the wood and I framed it out myself.
But it's like 5 different panels.
Yeah. And they're different sizes.
1, 2.
Yeah, so that's not all one picture. That's
Yeah.
each one's a panel. So you have to hang each one up. It's in a wood frame.
It's like a puzzle.
Yes.
Now the metal bike, where'd you get that at?
I don't know. She picked that up some.
Pier 1. I seen it at Pier 1. This was a long time ago. And I really liked it and I wanted it. And it was like $75. And I thought I ain't buying it for $75. Went in a few months later.
It went out
It
of
was-
business.
Well, this was way before they went out of business. Went in there a few months later and it was on sale. So it was half price. It was $35. Just not paying that much for it. If you went in there a few months later, it was back on the clearance aisle that it had already been marked down. And there ain't nothing wrong with it. It was marked down again to like $20. And then you got 75% off that. I got it for less than $10. And it was originally 75. So there you go. His mama was coming out in me.
Well, 75% off when it was $20, it should have been about $5.
It wasn't much. I don't know what it
That's
was.
5 off of 10, 20 and 10. That's what
I said it was less than $10. I don't remember exactly how much, but it was.
And
It
how
was
much?
in my price range.
We've had it probably for about 15 years.
And how much did they charge you for the extended warranty?
Yeah. You pass on that. You click no. I don't want it. What did you buy the other day? And they wanted to give you an extended warranty on something.
I don't know. Something
We
at
were
Home
like at the
Depot.
grocery store.
No, I think it was Home Depot.
It was someplace weird.
Oh, that was that propane tank I bought. They
Oh.
wanted to sell me a $3 warranty for it. I'm like, hell no. Ended up taking it back anyway. I found the one I had in the garage. And it worked out good enough.
Propane tape this. What is?
We have a video.
Oh.
Now, while we're hitting kind of a dead spot here, let me go ahead and inject this. I've done, for those of you that live in the southwest part of the United States, you know that the Red River Valley Rally in New Mexico had some violence break out between motorcycle gangs. The 2 gangs involved were the Banditos and a local New Mexico gang called the Water Dogs. 3 people were killed, numerous were injured.
They don't like to be called gangs.
Motorcycle clubs.
They inform me that they're not gangs.
They're not gangs, they're clubs. They're the 1% clubs.
Well, actually, though, the Water Dogs was not a 1%er. They were actually, because the women even had patches. So they were more of a, I don't think they were even, see, to become a
Wild
real
dogs.
motorcycle club, you have to go through whoever the dominant one is. If it's the HA or whoever it is, the Mogongos or whoever it is,
Their territory.
yeah. So you have to go to them and get permission. Well, there's a lot of other groups that are out here. Like, for instance, we've talked about it before, Baca and Harley Davidson, hog groups. And there's a lot of them out there that they call them corporate clubs. So they're not the same thing. Now, this one, I'm not sure what it was.
It's an
But-
actual, it's a
Motorcycle club.
it's an independent 1%.
They say it can't be 1% if you let women wear patches.
They're doing things their own way with their own rules. That's part of the problem they had with the Banditos. And there's a smaller rally that happens outside of, this was in Taos at the Red River Rally. There's another rally called the Rough Riders Rally that was scheduled to be held at the end of July in Las Vegas, New Mexico. Well, they've come out and they have canceled that rally. And then there's even a smaller rally, kind of local rally for Albuquerque that happens in Berlin. That happens was supposed to happen in 3 weeks, and they have canceled that. And the main concern is between federal, state, and local law enforcement have all stated that they're hearing a lot of chatter of continued violence between the Banditos and these Water Dogs.
But it wasn't the Water Dogs the guy that did the shooting?
Initially, yes.
So he's the one that shot the 3 and killed them.
There was 2 Banditos that were killed and 1 Water Dog that was killed.
Because I heard it was supposed to be over a picture.
Yeah, the water dogs wanted to take pictures of the banditos with their bikes.
Should have knew better.
Now,
Take it from a distance. Don't come up close.
Sturgis.
No, don't talk too much. We're going to talk about that. I got a video for that.
Well, I'm just going to tell the information that I know, that there has been no official increased amount of chatter or want from, well, federal, state, and local law enforcement about potential gang violence at Sturgis. And this is from the mayor's office. Mark Christensen has told me personally that the briefings are, everything's looking the same, that they'll be prepared for whatever contingencies that come up. So that's the mayor's, and Bob and Tam will have the chief on.
Yeah. So we talked to the chief, and we'll be giving a whole video on that and talking about what they're going to be doing and what precautions and all the different things that they're going to be doing. And so I'm not going to give out any of their secrets that they're doing, but we'll give you a little bit more insight, because people always want to know, hey, am I going to be safe? There's been a bunch of chatter I've seen on Facebook about is Sturgis going to be safe? And some guy put out there, I don't know who this guy was, but he put on there that there's been like 10 shootings in Sturgis, all these biker clubs that did all this. And it's like, I don't know. I know somebody got stabbed a couple years ago. One of the clubs got stabbed. I'm not going to say the bar and who it was or what happened, but I mean, I know a few miscellaneous things, but I don't know anybody that's, and I even Googled it too for Sturgis Motorcycle Rally, who's been shot in the city, you know, and I don't see anything. So I think overall, see that Sturgis is different, I think, than a lot of other rallies. Why? Because it's out in the middle of freaking nowhere. So that's the first problem, Mars. You're way out there. There's really only two main clubs that are actually kind of dominant in that area. And the other clubs will come and go. But typically what happens in a group like this, when you come to things like this is supposed to be what they call neutral territory. When you're on businesses, properties, things like that, and the clubs are coming together, you can see it at Miss Newbies if you're down there in Panama City. You know, and so they had somebody got stabbed last year, but this year they had a couple of fights, but nothing bad happened. But typically you don't see a whole lot of things happen in Sturgis. Now Sturgis has taken the next step to where pretty much all the bars have gone no colors, no cuts. That's the way it is. And a lot of people say it's the police that said that, and it did not come down from the police. It didn't come down from the mayor. We had a couple of people thinking that it did. They actually went to the city meeting and listened to it, and they didn't bring up nothing about it. So, but the last bar was Side Hacks that was allowing cuts and colors. They have a new owner. It's actually the owner that actually owns Shade Valley. They bought it. Some of the people that live in town says they've been there. They don't care for the new owner. And a couple other people say it's no different. But I'm assuming that they're going to go to no colors too. So pretty much that eliminates a lot of it in town. You've also got HA. They've got stores. They've got 3 or 4 stores down there in town. Last year, they even had in front of the clubhouse down there at the end. They even had vendors out front there. So
in front of Louis, they had one.
Yeah, they had one in front of Louis. So they have a lot of, and so what happens is in a case like that, if the HA caused problems and the city of Sturgis had to deal with it, they probably wouldn't have any more permits next year to have a vendor spot. And so a lot of times, same thing happens up in Reno. The HA's up there and they make a lot of money on one of the runs up there. And same thing happens. You don't really see the problem with them because they're making money. They got a business going on. So they're trying to keep what they are. Sometimes that's what I always keep saying the same thing too. You're coming to a motorcycle rally. You're down on Main Street. You're in any of these bars. First of all, it is against the law to have a gun and be in an alcoholic establishment. That's pretty much every freaking business in town is selling alcohol. Even the dress store's got a bar inside it. You know, everybody's selling alcohol. So if you walk in and they see you have a gun and they call the cops, you could be arrested for that. And then lose your gun, lose your bike, be in jail for a while, and
lose the money. And
so I always say, I don't understand why. You know, the Monkey Man put one up the other day on Facebook, said you should go back to, I forget what he said, knuckles or no guns, but knuckles up. To where kind of we talked about that before. You know, it used to be when we were in high school and grade school, you had a problem with a kid, you went out back and you had a fight, and whoever won, that's kind of the decision you went with. And nobody carried guns. Well, we had guns in the back of our trucks, But I mean, you could leave your truck unlocked, had a gun in the coat in the gun rack, and you carried pocket knives to school. You can't even do that kind of stuff anymore. It's a whole different world. But when we come to these rallies and stuff, we're all the same. We're all the same kind of people that are there. And there's no reason for him to shoot me or me to shoot him. You know, just if there's an argument, you know, talk about it. First of all, it's usually because somebody's been drinking and there's alcohol involved or drugs or whatever the case may be. You shouldn't have a gun if you're going to be drinking. You know, oh yeah, we've been to some of these rallies and I've seen guys having their guns hanging out of their pocket like they're Mr. Badass. You know, dude, it would have took me 2 seconds to pull that gun out and shot you with it because you had it hanging out so far. It was easy to grab it. And if you would have turned and nothing else, I could have shot you in the ribs. But I mean, there's no reason for that. You know, we got concealed carry permits and we do have guns in different places, but I don't carry them around when I'm at the rally because I feel that there's no need to have that.
Out of all the arrests that are made every year in Sturgis, what percentage would you say are alcohol related? Between DUIs, fights?
I don't know. We'd have to ask.
I'd probably say 99%.
No, Sturgis has been very, which we're going to talk about when we do our police thing, because we asked them about that. They do have the open container, which is beer and wine only. And they're going to get a little stricter this year on that. Because typically they've been very lenient and just dumped it out. And we've seen them. We filmed it last year. They made them dump it out and throw it in the trash can and send them on their way.
He says he leaves it up to his.
I know, but we'll talk about that in the video about what they're planning on doing. But it's about a lot of this, and it's the same thing that they always say. Why do they stop at 10 o'clock on the open container? Well, the chief had an excellent idea, and the reason he's trying to keep the stupid drunks off the street, standing on the corner drinking a beer. First of all, the only thing that's open after 10 o'clock at night is the bars. So you should be in there drinking, not out on the street standing around. The reason they gave the cups is they wanted you to be able to take your beer or your wine, and you could stroll through the stores. You could stroll up and down Main Street. You can go down all the way. You can walk over to the Iron Horse. You can walk over to Harley store. You can go over to J&P Cycles. All these places you can walk now with your beer. So they've really opened up the area to where they're giving you a lot more area to walk with that beer. But the idea is they want you to do more shopping. They want you to be able to get around and do stuff, not stand in a corner and see how many beers I can drink before 10 o'clock comes. Any real questions?
You remember? No, they were saying that they saw that Blackie Redhawk said that he saw the Water Dogs only had like 30 members and they were supposed to be a Christian riding group, not any kind of club at all. Supposedly they didn't have MC or RC on their cuts. If you go on their Facebook page, it does say MC in the corner.
And that's why they're very local to just Albuquerque area. They shouldn't have not even been at Taos at all. But now that stories are coming out that they've been involved in a lot of activities that the state would like to question them about, and some of them are still on the run. There was a question up there about cuts. What I'm wearing right here, if I may stand up, this right here, my vest.
It's not a cut.
This is not a cut because
there's nothing on the back.
I'm not representing.
So what you have, so I can have it back on the back of my.
Oh,
here, I got my thing.
Oh, Bob's getting his out. See, but this is not a cut. This is just a decorated vest. Once you start putting affiliations on the back, then it becomes a cut, because that's what the cut represents. Is that it was originally the cutoff vest of the '60s that you were in a club with. A lot of the early patches didn't go on leather; it went on denim, and they were literally just cut off denim jackets that they turned into vests to put their patches on.
Usually has to have their patch, and then it has to have the name of the group on the top, and then the city you're from on the bottom. Those are the three, the patch and the two rockers. The three patch thing is what people get all.
That's a cut. Wearing this into a bar is not going to cause a problem.
So it wasn't in there? It is.
He's hunting.
You go find them.
All right.
You know, a decorated vest is not a problem. You may get questioned if you have a design on the back, or you're part of a motorcycle organization. You may get questioned about wearing a vest in some of the establishments in Sturgis. But if you're just wearing a vest with little silly patches on it, that's not a cut. That's just a vest. That's, no one's going to hassle you for that. The other thing is that with every establishment being a no-fly zone, that's what they refer to when they say no colors. They call that a no-fly zone. They're really not going to be a lot of a major club activity in town because they can't go anywhere and they can't do anything.
I found one.
Ah, here we go.
So this will start. This is considered a cut. So what this has is it's got the hog emblem on the bottom, shows your club, and here's your rocker. So this has the city in it, and it also says our chapter. So this is actually considered a cut. So if it said no cuts, I really couldn't wear my hog vest in either. Now, so you can get away with, now this gets away with what makes this different to where a club, a 1% group, or any motorcycle club really isn't going to get excited about these kind of vest cuts, colors, because it's a corporate thing. It's something that Harley Davidson has gone and they call it a corporate patch. Baca, there's a lot of these clubs like that. They call them corporate patches to where they really, a regular motorcycle club would not consider us a motorcycle club. Nowhere on it does it have an MC or anything like that. But some of the hog ones actually have the rock, all three things. But you have a top rocker, which usually tells you the name of the club. You got your logo, and then at the bottom usually has your city. And that's usually the one that gets you in the most trouble is your city. Because as you find out if you're in a motorcycle club, let's say I'm in HA and I'm going to travel to Sturgis. I actually have to check with all the local main headquarter organizations to make sure I can ride through their area with my patches on, with my vest on. What?
Oh.
Well, this one's got it in two.
Oh.
So it's got both of them, but it's in one single one. But it would still count because it's got the name, it's got the city, and then it's got your patch. So that's what they consider. So if you're just wearing a vest like his, or if I had that vest on and I didn't have the rocker on the back and I just had the hog emblem on it, I could wear that in. It's not cut. So you got to have it. It's typically, at least it has to have the top one and then the middle one. That's when they usually consider it a cut. Doesn't have to say motorcycle club. Now some of them will have 1% on their patch, 2 in the front. Each one's a little different. Some of them will have their name, that their biker name is, whatever they are. So
the old lady has to have property of and their man's name on it. Yeah,
that's what most of them, but they usually don't have a full rocker on them though. Most women don't. Because that was the first thing they came out with when they had the shooting and they were both calling them 1%ers. There was a whole bunch of them said no. Every woman with them had full patches. And so you don't normally see women with a full patch. Now there is an exception to the rule. I think HA actually has, I think, 4 women that actually have a patch. They have the whole thing. And
we know one of them.
Yeah.
Now, Red Hawk there asked a question about having a design on the back of a vest. There it is. A design on the back and having a top rocker and a bottom rocker. Here's a problem with that. It's not a cut, but from a distance to another motorcycle organization or club that may appear as a rival group, but a rival group that's in their territory, or a new group that has come up from somewhere that they don't know. So they're going to question you what you're doing in their area because you're representing that you belong to a group. Whether you do or you don't is irrelevant. What they see from the distance, rocker, patch, rocker, they're going to think that's a club, and they're going to want to talk to you about it.
So what also ends up happening with this is the one was the movie Hog
Wild.
Hogs.
Everybody did that. Also, Sons of Anarchy. A lot of people did that. Typically, if you do that, you're really not going to have a whole lot of trouble. But if you show up in a bar and there's some MCs there, they're going to give you some crap. They may even rip it off your back. So you're taking in. You can actually go on SD, which I went the other day because I was just really curious if this is true. You can buy everybody's patches off of SD. They're counterfeit patches. You can be an HA, you can be a Mongol, you can be whoever you want to be. And they sell you all these patches. Well, you're pretty much getting a death warrant if you're going to put something stupid like that on the back of your vest and act like you're a 1%er or an MC, you're going to get hurt. And so that's the idea of why that I never realized this till we started talking to, we have a lot of 1%ers that watch our channel. There might be someone here tonight that I never realized how serious and how organized this really is. That I thought it was just a bunch of hooligans out here and they were robbing places and harassing people like you watch Son of Anarchies or someplace like that. That's what I kind of thought 1%ers were. Now, there may be something like that. But it actually goes back to the 30s and the 40s where people had respect for each other. Men did. Women did not talk. In the 30s and the 40s, the women did not talk. They didn't get to vote. They didn't get any of that crap. So the men were the men were men. And that's the way it was. Well, that's what the clubs are supposed to be. You handshake people. You take your glove off. You take your sunglasses off. You look at that person in the eye when you come up to them and say, "Hey, my name is Bob. I want to talk to you." Okay, and that's how you approach them. But like somebody went on Facebook the other day and said they went up to a club and they gave them a bunch of crap. Well, first of all, they don't know who you are when you walk up because they're a club and they could be a rival. You could be a rival person going to shoot them or stab them. So when you walk up, that's what you need to do. Take your sunglasses off, take your riding gloves off if you got them on, stick your hand out right before you even walk up to them and say, "Hey, my name's Bob, and I'd like to meet you guys." And I did that. I don't know, was it in Sturgis last year? Where did I go up and did that at? Daytona. There was 4 guys standing there, and I'm gonna go try this out and see if this works. So here I come walking up to them, and they all kind of looked at me like, "What the hell are you doing here?" I came up and they shook my hand and we talked a little bit and everything was fine. But I gave them the respect that you deserve, and you deserve to give the respect both ways. They give you respect, you give them respect. And so that's really how you have to handle that. Now there's an exception to the rule, which is in a bar. And the rule is if there's more than 10 of them club members in a bar, you need to get the hell out, because it's not uncommon for them to turn around and lock the doors and say, "You're staying here till we get done partying." You may end up with a beer bottle over your head, or you may end up being a pool stick. You may end up being the 8 ball in the hole. But that's what we do.
Never know.
There's our 1% story for tonight.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just
15 minutes.
Yeah. So most of this, you just don't put yourself in a bad situation. Just like us, we were at Miss Newbies this year.
Last year
In Miss Newbies, we came in there on a Saturday, late afternoon, starting to get dark. And I got the camera up and walking around, and somebody actually wanted us to go there and meet somebody. Their husband was handicapped and wanted us to meet him. And so we went over there to meet him. And when I walked through the parking lot, I came over and caught up with her, and I said, "Put your camera down. There's way too many of them and not many of us." So there was probably 80-90% of the bar was clubs.
Different clubs.
Lots
not
of
all
clubs.
one club.
Not a good situation sometimes. And once again, they're drinking and they probably loaded, because you get carded, you get checked going in. Out in the parking lot, they're not checking nobody. So who knows what's going on out there. So I told her, we'll go meet the people and we're getting the hell out of here. We're not going to be around here when something bad happens. And this year we didn't even go down to Miss Newbies at night. I didn't want to deal with that. Now, see, we had the same problem last year at Myrtle Beach down at Suck Bang Blow. But this year, what did they put out front? It was on the sign.
Oh, no colors, no cuts, no.
And the HA has a house right behind there as their clubhouse. So that was very shocking this year that they did that. But so I don't know if the police told them that, because they've had the riot cops are in there. They got their whole tactical gear on. They look like they're Army GI Joes, got their helmets on, they're running around with the guns. And so they're all over the place anyway. But there was a Christian guy a couple years ago got the heck beat out of him, and pretty bad. And for just saying something, I don't know if he said God loves you, or I don't know what he said, but they should have never done it. Luckily, I didn't want to be involved, but I would have jumped in there to protect the guy. I probably have been beat to hell too, but I couldn't have seen 5 guys that's just kicking a guy in the head for no reason at all. But so that's one of the things you do. You just kind of stay away from. But I mean, if you're down on Main Street or you're at the Buffalo Chip, and most of the campgrounds, you're not going to have a lot of trouble with that like that. It's typically when if you, just like I said, you're not going to go down over to the HA's house over there and start saying, "Oh, what the hell are you assholes doing here?" It's going to end up bad for you. But most of the time, we've talked to them and chatted with them and stuff, and none of them go on camera. But we've learned a lot, and I've I didn't know about the handshake. I didn't know about taking the sunglasses off because the first time I talked to one of them, I left my sunglasses on. I mean, he didn't say nothing, but he was a big guy. I went to the clubhouse. The people always, one guy said, "Oh, you never did that." Well, you come down there this year, and I'll take you over to the clubhouse, and I'll show you. We go over there and talk to them. I'm not afraid of them. I respect them. I mean, if they were all out there cleaning their guns, I don't know if I'd walk over there. But
You are far more likely to run into civilian trouble in Sturgis than you are motorcycle.
yeah, some drunk guy. You know, there's a lot of drunk guys out there, or drunk girls that are carrying, because South Dakota is a carrying state. I think it's just like Arizona. It's a concealed carry permit. You don't need a permit to have a concealed carry in South Dakota. And so a lot of people have that, but you don't realize, which we always remind when we talk to the police chief, you can't bring it into an alcohol establishment. And I'm not sure if it's a felony or if it's a misdemeanor. It could end up being a felony.
Now, do you want to wait for your video, or you want to bring up the marijuana issue?
No, I'm not talking about the marijuana, but you can talk about it.
All right. The state laws in South Dakota regarding cannabis consumption and use, South Dakota is still a medical use only state. You have to have a prescription. You
Need a card.
And a card. You can only buy it through local dispensers. You cannot bring it into the state.
So typically, if you're on a campground, Glencoe, private property, same thing like at Glencoe. There's people running around there naked, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. That's against the law. If you were doing that same thing on Main Street in Sturgis, you're going to the pokey. But down on Glencoe, you can do whatever you want because it's private property. Same thing at the Buffalo Chip. We've seen a few naked girls running around on golf carts the other night. Last time we were there, I was going to say the other night, but it was more than the other night. And no big deal. Hey! And they ended up on a Patreon video. But and there's some people down there smoking dope and stuff, and probably doing other stuff, and stay to yourself and not out there and bothering anybody with it. So it all works, but there you're okay. But if you're downtown, see, the problem with it ends up being is if you get arrested, or they just pull you over because your headlight's out. And usually it's not so much in a motorcycle, it's a car. Normally they pull a car over for not having brake lights or something. They look inside and there's some pot laying on the, in the console. Well, now they got they can search your vehicle and all this. So now that guy's probably going to jail. But which we always talk about, we'll talk more about in our police video. We actually see more cars pulled over than we do motorcycles. No matter what you people think, what you see, this is all we do is drive around, ride around on a motorcycle, and we're looking. We're not drinking. We're paying attention. We even film the cops when they're there. She goes by, she got the camera out, filming the cop, writing the guy a ticket on the car. And we do see a couple bikes pulled over now and then. Then we have seen on the 79 going out to Full Throttle, they do pull a lot of people over. But once again, I see more cars pulled over than I do motorcycles.
On Myrtle Beach, there was a ton of cops pulling over golf carts.
Yeah, stupid golf carts.
I've never seen so many golf carts pulled over.
Well, they put, what's that road called?
17.
The Highway 17. Well, you're allowed, most of the towns, you can ride a golf cart any street that has less than 35 miles an hour. Well, it's 50 miles an hour, whatever the hell it is out there. And so these morons are riding on the side of the road. Hello, you're still on the right of way of the road. So they think if they could ride down the shoulder of the road, golf cart going down the side, that's legal. Woo! Here comes the cops. And we've seen 4 or 5. Damn, Art, where the hell you been?
Drug use is life abuse. Save a life, save drugs. Stay drug free.
Yeah.
Well, and the cops, the most bikes I've seen pulled over in Sturgis is on the stretch of Junction from just the west, not on Junction, on LaSalle, from Junction east to 79 and the Buffalo Chip to Ackle Road. Yeah. The county and the state police, that's where the most bikes get pulled over.
That's it drops down to 35. And so that's what a lot of people, because right now it's 55. So along there, because I'm really, it's tough because when you're there, like we get there so early, you get used to running that speed limit and then they drop it down to 35 and it's like, oh, I can ride a bicycle faster than this. Art, we're going to be in town next week. So find a night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, I guess Friday night too. 4 nights we're going to be
full fun.
Fun night, you want to go out to eat.
It's a bowl.
So that's
So
Lucky Red Hawk said, Monkey said that the police actually harass people in Daytona.
we're going to talk about that. We've got a whole lot of
Haven't been
information.
there, so I don't know. I
We've
just thought
talked
it was
to, so we're going to talk
videos.
about that.
Thoughts on
We've got a video that we're going to be putting together with all the statistics from Daytona, the tickets, every ticket that was written, every person that got pulled over. We've got everything. We got all the information from the county, and they got it from all the police departments involved. So we got a lot of information. We got to talk to a lot of the people there, officers and chiefs and all that good stuff. So we're going to have a great video to explain to you what Monkey talked about, what reality is, and we'll tell you what the difference is. Well, there's what he said is something, but what we're going to tell you is what really what the whole story is, because once again we see it all, and we also go and do that. We go talk to the chief, and we go talk to the county, and we go talk to the state. We go talk to all these people because we got. If you watch Mexi Philly, that's what he says. Give him a question, he'll go find out who the hell it is. Well, that's what we do. We want to give you that great information. So one, to keep you out of trouble, and two, one of the biggest ones that everybody. The number one thing that people complained about at all the rallies is glasses. So if I'm on my bike and I'm sitting at a stop sign, I can't do this and go, oh, hey, buddy. Because you're sitting on your bike and it's running. You have to have your eye protection on all the time. That's the law. So if you took them off to rub your eye, then you should have pulled over or, no, I mean, first of all, if I needed to rub my eye and there's a cop there, I'm going to wink as long as I can to get my ass past him and not give me a reason to do something stupid. You know, it's people do stuff, and it's a lot of stuff about Main Street. We were down on Main Street when a lot of this stuff happened, and we're going to tell you actually what happened. And you're going to be like, well, I didn't know that. Well, I didn't know that either. Well, that's right, because you weren't sitting there and watching. You've seen this guy put a video up and, oh, this guy's being hassled. Look at him. He's a veteran. He's got a veteran flag. He's got a American flag. What the hell are they hassling that guy for? We're going to tell you why. Why? Because he was stupid. That's why. And we're going to tell you why he was stupid. And maybe he was drinking. I don't know why he was stupid. He was just extra stupid.
I bet it involved a mullet.
If you watch live PD last night. There was a moron on Daytona that was on a dirt bike, and that crazy guy kept kicking his foot out the door, kept kicking his shoe. He was yelling. The cop goes, I want to know why I got pulled over. So the cop goes, well, I'm going to explain. And he goes, are you going to be quiet long enough for me to tell you? Yeah. And the cop starts talking. The guy starts flipping out again. And finally the cop just says, I'm done. Put your foot in the door. I'm shutting the door. We're not talking anymore. You can find out when you go down and talk to the judge. He'll tell you why I pulled you over. And it was like, and then the cop turned and told us. But the guy was like, I don't know, he's a tweaker, old geezer tweaker. And he shouldn't even been on a dirt bike. I didn't see the part where he got pulled over. I just seen him in the car when I was flipping through the channel. Live PD.
Excessive rubbing. They don't.
That wasn't what that guy got pulled over for.
Well.
But we're going to talk about that on the video. So we're not going to.
Now, if you drive your bike off a drawbridge in Daytona, chances are
you're going to get arrested.
You're going to get arrested because
you might be a redneck.
Well, that guy there, because they ended up having to close the bridge down. They had to call for an inspection of the bridge. Typically, now I don't know what happened because I don't know where this guy was from. Don't know anything about the guy. We couldn't find out any more information about this guy. He would have had to owe for all that money. He would have had to pay for the bridge being inspected. Who knows how much that was? And the shutdown of the bridge. And so all that stuff done, because I used to work for a utility company. And when somebody ran over a gas line, hit a gas meter and hit it all, and we had to come out and repair it, you paid for it. The customer didn't pay for it. The guy that hit the stupid meter is the moron that had to pay for all the bills. For me to come out, for the crew to come out, for everybody to come out and service all that, and however long it took us to finish it, they paid for it. They sent them a bill. And you can't claim that on your insurance. Good luck on how you're going to cover it. But it is what it is. But you got a question?
No, when a new guy, Glenn's on.
Hey, Glenn. Glad you joined us tonight. Art say any more?
He just said he was laughing. They were talking about petting the fluffy cows.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I only want.
If you want to know how, I will. If you want a personal, how to get close to a bison, I'll tell you what time we're coming out to there, and I will show you how you do it.
Wear red.
No. How many times have I been close to bisons?
Well, I thought you were going to tell him something else.
Hey, all I know is I learned from the Breakfast
and a
Club.
lifesaver. The bus.
The bus, yeah.
The bus is that's
Or if you stay at Kathmandu, it's free ride. Kathmandu downtown. Which
Now,
it is.
you mess with the bull, you get the horns. And yes, I know Barry Manilow. I've raided Barry Manilow's wardrobe closet, but don't pet the fluffy cows, no matter what anybody tells you. There is no safe way to meet them. If you want to meet buffalo, you go all the way out I-90 to Wall Drug, and in their little deli there, they have buffalo hamburgers. That is the safest way to meet buffalo.
We got one better than that. We have one where you can actually
Feed.
pet and feed live bison in the field. It's called
Terry
Terry
Bison. I
Bison's
thought that's what you
Buffalo
were talking
Ranch.
about.
And what he does is he brings you out
In
on these
Cheyenne.
carts that are about this high up. So the bison can put their head up and then you can feed them or you can throw them in their mouth and all that. But they can't get to you because you're higher up and it's all metal. And we did that a couple years ago when we came back through Colorado.
2019.
Yeah, we stopped in there and it was pretty neat. It was a little tour. They got a little ghost town there. And that's where they make the bison burgers.
Try to throw a spear at the fluffy cow. They love it.
Yeah.
Most of the people out there, even on motorcycles, are drinking. So I would imagine if you do something stupid and get stopped, everyone who is drinking, you will probably get a DUI also. Very likely.
There's no excuse
There you go.
anymore. Now, in the early days of the rally, drinking and driving, getting hammered, and then riding a bike in the dark, and a lot of people getting hurt and stuff. But nowadays, you have so many options in Sturgis. You have public transportation that you can buy passes for. You have the venues that have, their own camping and lodging facilities. That's why I stay at the Buffalo Chip. That way at night, if I want to have a drink, I don't have to worry about what my plan is for the night.
Trying to get home. Too.
I'm
Stumble back.
I'm already home. I'm
Trip over
already
a
where I am. I trip over a couple of cables or
Cow pies.
cow pies there.
That's a farmer's field, or that's a cattle. We never see any cattle out there, but he always tells us that it's a.
Yeah.
He always tells us that, but every time we've been out there,
Even
even
in
October, there was no cows out there grazing, so I don't know where they come from.
Or if you are gonna like go from the campground into the city, use the bus. That's what the whole purpose of it is.
There's even a Jones bus too. So
There's
Yeah.
Jones bus,
Jones's
Dub bus. There's a couple of private ride shares now that are starting to venture out from Rapid City that are offering rides. There's no excuse for you to be in a vehicle inebriated in Sturgis.
Yeah. And it is, and the idea is you want to drink where you're comfortable at, and it's usually best places. If you're at a campground or if you're at a hotel, there's usually something close by you can do a bunch of drinking in. It's not bad to have a beer during the day if you want to have a beer with lunch or something like that. Or if you have 2 or 3 beers, hang around a while. Just like what we've had. One of the chiefs have said, make sure you eat something. Get some of that alcohol, get some food in you, and don't just jump on the bike right then. Hang around a little while, kind of settle down a little bit. Because one, we don't want you to die because you're drunk and stupid and you killed yourself, or you don't want to kill us because we don't want to get killed by you or anybody else. You could end up running over somebody's kid or somebody's dog or Bambi or whatever's out there.
So I can't say the guy's name. JPULCZINSKI83 wants to enter a bike show at the Chip. Which one? What kind of bike do you have?
That's
Because
right.
they have 15 different bike
No,
shows.
11.
Yeah, they have 11 different.
If you
bike
go
shows.
on the Chip's website, they'll list all the bike shows, and you can see where your bike.
The
is
only
in
one that
best.
costs to get into is
The red one.
Rat Hole. He charges $20, but all the other ones are free. Actually, the Evo one, was it last year? No, that's
Evo.
Evo. Was it Evo?
Neo, yeah.
It was the one that you got a swag pack. You got one of those fancy
Flannel
what's the name?
Dixon.
Yeah, Dixon. You got a flannel Dixon shirt. You got all this stuff for free, and it's like, holy crap! I think I'm gonna put an Evo sticker on my bike and get in there. Give me some
Now,
free stuff.
the Rad Hole show, that's an open show though. That's any bike, any
Yeah.
model,
Yeah.
anything.
But it's just he charges $20 for registration fee.
Where none of the other ones do.
Yeah, none of the other ones charge.
All right, you're over 2 minutes.
Okay.
2 hours.
Over 2 minutes. Holy smokes!
No,
we still got
2 hours. Cut it off.
an hour and 49 minutes to go.
Now, I want to state something that I was wrong about earlier this evening. A broken clock is not right twice a day because I just noticed that the clock is not only wrong, but it's running. It's
See?
running wrong. It's keeping time Wrong.
No, it's keeping track of the seconds.
It's probably nothing to do with that.
I looked up and I noticed that the second hand is still moving and the time is different than what it was earlier. I'm like, I'm probably.
You heard her talking about it, so he decided I'm gonna get going so I don't get thrown
No,
away.
it does. It still moves. It just doesn't.
It goes.
It
slow.
doesn't
Got a bunch more comments.
keep the.
So we're gonna
Keep
be
up
wrapping
the
it up here
pace.
pretty soon, and so when
So they're talking about the DeBus.
Mike and
Buffalo
Patsy
Chips
for
way
coming
to
on the
go.
show. And a lot of times like this with the DeBus and some of those ones like that, if you buy the pass before, you can get a discount and it's cheaper. And that's the way to go if you're going to stay there. And there's other ones like Monkey staying out at Steel Pony. They got one that always takes you back and forth to the Iron Horse. Stay on the Iron Horse. And then you can go to Kathmandu, you can stay there. And they have the bus that comes downtown all the time. So that's what's kind of nice about some of them. They also said, which you really don't need a bus, but the Sturgis RV Park, they've got some vans that will take you downtown, which I don't know, you can stumble 5 blocks down. I don't know. But I guess, hey, if it's hot or.
Well, because I even think now the DeBus, is it the bus or Jonesy's bus one of them goes to Deadwood now too.
Yeah.
So a lot of
I think
people
it's
say,
Jonesy Bus. I'm not sure. A lot of people say that the bus does, but I look at their schedule. I don't see Deadwood on it. They do a lot of local stuff. Because what happens is traffic gets really bad. There's a girl right now that's on Facebook, which she's kind of nuts for what she's saying. She's an Uber driver, and she wants to do it for tips only. And I'm like, you're going to get a lot of people that ain't going to pay you nothing. Some drunk guy's going to get in their car, load it all up, and puke in it. But I would be charging. So I don't know why, because typically Uber, Lyft, all of them aren't allowed in Sturgis because most of them are out of Rapid City. They just tell them they don't want them down there because of liability and all that kind of stuff. So this girl was actually going to go on her own. So typically there's
maybe
really
that's
no.
why she couldn't charge. That's why she's only doing
Yeah,
it
it
for
could be.
tips.
And there's really not any taxis down there. Everything's in Rapid City.
No, like Glenn says, the DeBus took him to Deadwood last year.
Okay. Like I say, when I look at their map beginning of the year, I didn't see any routes to Deadwood. So if it is, it's great that they do. But nobody goes to Rapid City. We have a van that will take you down there, but you have to pay ahead of time and let them know you're going to do it. They'll do trips to Full Throttle, to downtown. They'll do trips to Buffalo Chip, out to the airport. Yeah, so you can. It's I don't know what her price this year will be, but it was it $40?
Black Hills Tours, I think is what the name of it was.
We'll put it back.
Last year it was, I think it was $20 each way, so it was $40 total. But you had to call ahead before Sturgis Rally even starts, especially if you're flying in. When your flight's coming in, and if that changes, I'm sure whatever.
But if you want to go to Consul, like, hey, I want to go to ZZ Top,
You're
and
staying in.
yeah, and I'm staying in Rapid City or I'm staying in Deadwood. They'll come and pick you up after the concert, or they'll take you to the concert, come back and pick you back up, and they'll monitor what time it's over. They just say, here's where we'll be. You get over here and get in the van, and we'll take you back. And get there on time, because if you're like 2 hours late, they'll be gone.
Just running 7 hours behind. There's George. Take a clock for stage 1 upgrade.
George.
Maybe it can, or I can run faster. I don't know.
I think a stage 2 for that clock, George. It would definitely need the bigger cam.
All righty, so I guess we're done, because we haven't ate anything today. We're going to go out to eat.
Yep.
So before the tornado comes.
Yeah.
Had some thunder, but I didn't see no rain. Oh, yeah, there's a little wet out there.
Yep.
So with that, we're going to leave you right here. We do appreciate you all for coming out and hanging out with us tonight and talking about a little bit of everything again. It's one of those nights that
Anything goes.
Yeah, got a little bit. Sometimes it seems like we go around to the same things and talk about, again, all the time, clubs and, we did have that shooting and police and Sturgis and Laconia. And so kind of some of the general stuff is kind of going on.
Art says he just added driving lights to his Ultra Limited.
Mm-hmm. He's got
Have a
new.
good week.
He's got
Caitlin.
slip-ons like I got. He even down there got some.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bob and Tam, for hosting me and Patsy today, and thank
we
you for
enjoyed
everything you've done for the wedding and me and her personally. And you guys are the best. I remember when I started my Sturgis journey 3 years ago, and you're one of the first YouTube videos I found, and how young your channel was at the time. And I just knew that these were people that I could trust, I could talk with, that would provide great information. And you guys have made my Sturgis adventure really worthwhile, and I appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
We appreciate that.
You've welcomed me.
And that's one of the things. This is the reason we do this. because
We
it's
get to meet people like
yeah.
that.
If I didn't have people come up to me at rallies and say, hey, oh man, we had a guy all the way from Iraq last year and came and met us and came all by himself just because he watched our channel. And it's like, to me, that's it's just a great feeling to have, that we can motivate people. We can give them that information, that they can feel that they can come to a rally like that from overseas and be safe. And even just somebody that's local that we talk to on the channel, they're like, hey, I live in Sturgis and I watch your channel and stuff. And I had somebody on Facebook the other day that wrote something, or I guess it was YouTube, that they went back and watched a video I did a couple years ago about what I hate about Sturgis. And apparently, which I got a few of those from that people didn't watch all the way to the end, because what we hate about Sturgis was things that people had told us. They didn't like that it was so crowded. They didn't, all the typical stuff. And the guy goes, oh, you don't know nothing. You YouTubers come in town. And, and I said, we own property out there. And I said, we'll be out there soon. Maybe I'll run into you. And I never did right back. But it was, the idea is he didn't watch the whole video. And there was a bunch of YouTubers a couple months ago that did that. They were actually complaining about the Monkey Man. And it was like, what I hate about Professional Monkey. And they went through all this. And at the very end, it was a joke. And two guys did it. And I don't know if Droop was one of them or not, but they did it. And all these people ganged up on them. And it's like, and that's what I wrote in the comment. It's apparently they did not watch the whole video, because they just watched the first part, a couple parts where, oh, he's rude, he's this, he's that, and all that. Well, to me, if I'm going to watch the video like that and somebody's complaining about something, I kind of, if nothing else, I'd skim through it, at least get to the end and see what they say. Because it's like all these people there's a bunch of people there's a guy that keeps putting videos out how Harley's screwing everybody. And it's like, it's all about, too many people are doing this for views, and they're putting out a bunch of crap that they're just making up, or they're stealing it from another, somebody else came out with, oh, woke this or whatever it is. And then they go off of what that guy wrote and kind of says the same thing, but they're trying to get the 80 or 90,000 views. And it's like, and first of all, you shouldn't even be watching all that stuff. Watch a couple of them and then go do your research and figure out, unless you want to just watch the guy to laugh at him, that's fine. But it's just, there's so many people out here on YouTube that are taking, like, well, Mike just mentioned it a while ago, that there's a guy that he said, I haven't seen so many people that are hating on Harley Davidson right now. There's always people that are hating on it. Dude, you want to ride your Honda, ride it. I don't give a crap what you ride.
Haters would be haters.
If you don't like Harley Davidson, then quit. There's this one guy that came on there today. I clicked on his thing. He's got all this Harley Davidson stuff behind him. And he's talking about, oh, I hate Harley. And I'm like, dude, how much freaking money have you spent buying all them signs from Harley Davidson at the store?
Are you going to burn those signs?
Yeah.
Put some
paint over them, put an X on them, or put a circle on them. I don't see him doing that. But he sure is whining and complaining about it. But it's if they're doing it for a joke and they say it at the end, it's a joke, and they're just kind of reeling you in, then that's one thing. But if they just constantly keep putting out videos and just going on and on and on, and what the hell do they really know? Nothing. Because like I say, when we talk to corporate's not going to tell you a whole lot of nothing. We've got some of the corporate people are yakking at us now and talking to us. One of them just called us the other day again about Milwaukee, going to set us up with a bunch of stuff. And so, which is great. And we appreciate that. But I'm not hating on Harley Davidson. Corporations do what they want to do and they spend their money. And if you really got down to it, you would never buy anything again. Why are you buying all this Chinese stuff from a country that's socialism? It's social. They're communist. But everything we own, everything you buy has something that's Chinese in it. But we're not all standing there saying we refuse to buy any products anymore. Half our food comes from Mexico or wherever the hell they're saying. Yeah, Chile or wherever the hell it is. So half the food you can't even eat. The meat, they're now telling us that some of the meat's not even coming from America anymore.
China coming from.
Yeah, so this crazy stuff. Why are people making a big thing about that? It doesn't make a lot of sense, but people get on this bandwagon and go on and I kind of got on that at first when I seen the Bud Light thing, but then when I started doing some research and started to look it up, I'm like, okay, they weren't going to manufacture this can. It wasn't going to be like the Harley emblem that's on all the Budweiser cans right now that you buy, special edition ones. So they weren't going to sell it. And if this girl wouldn't have had 1 million subscribers on Instagram, would we have ever heard anything about it? Probably not. And so you wouldn't have everybody been drinking Bud Light like they always did. Good old pea water. You might as well, go down and get you some Milwaukee Best. It's right up there with Bud Light. But it is what it is. So we'll leave you at that.
So thanks for hanging out with us tonight and listening to all his rants. Thanks for Mike and Patsy coming out and spending some time with us and being on. Don't forget, their wedding is August 4th, that Friday. And if you want to be there to see the wedding and see it all take place,
Yeah, and don't be shy. Come and say hello. We would love to see you. If you've been here watching us and following with Bob and Tam about our wedding, we'd love to say hello.
And if you don't want to buy a pass, you can go up there to the crossroads. They'll be up there for the
We'll
first
be at the
couple hours.
crossroads
Yeah,
in
they'll be up
about,
there.
from
From
about
5 to
3 to
6.
3 to 5.
5,
We'll be at
okay.
the crossroads.
So you can check
guess
them out
who
there.
just came on? Neil.
Neil,
Neil!
congratulations, Neil. The sled dogs reached you.
I just got home. I'm here.
Hi, Neil.
Glad to see you.
Neil, you're hooked up for dinner on Friday night,
There
too.
you go.
Just to let you know.
All right.
You're hooked up.
You won't have to go to the American
Hey.
Legion
You
anymore.
won't have to
Right.
eat. You will not have to eat at the American Legion Friday night.
Neil says Friday night pass, $85 if you buy it online before prices go up.
That's
Probably
true.
over $100 at the gate.
And it was only $50 when it first started.
55.
Yeah. So it's like that's why I say if you're going to look at Sturgis like that, and if you're even if you're somebody that likes to go to concerts at the rally, you should buy your pass as soon as they go on sale. The odds are there's going to be at least 1 or 2 bands. Like right now, it seems like the big is going to be Def Leppard and Limp Bizkit. Right, Limp Bizkit's playing. Those are the 2 that's probably going to be. That's the one that I see the most chatter on Facebook on Buffalo Chip site and all that. That's the one I see the most people talking about. That's going to be, they think it's Def Leppard's probably going to be the biggest one for our age group, probably more older. Limp Bizkit may get a little bit of the younger guys will be happy about that. Some of these other bands, I don't know. The Saturday Night guy, I don't really know who the guy is.
Zoe Wetzel.
He sounds all right, but I mean, I don't know any of that stuff.
That's gonna the big draw for that's gonna be the Steel Panther. The Steel
Yeah.
Panther for that. That's
Since they've been on American Idol or whatever they were on.
America's
Just
Got
Friday
Talent.
night.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is fair because
Yeah.
Steel Panther's been around for
Yeah.
a very long
I know.
Doesn't
time.
make sense. It doesn't-
And personally, thank you, Neil. Yeah, it's been an incredible turnaround. Steel Panther's been around for a long time. They have released albums. They have done separate tours, and
Yeah, they already have a recording studio.
like a recording. Yeah, they already have done recordings.
But I think you haven't put
Oh
nothing
my
out.
God, they were on America's Got Talent
Yeah.
last week, I think it was, and it's like, oh.
All I'll say
And
about
as I said, when I seen that, I thought, aren't they at the Buffalo Chip?
all
Well, it's kind of good for the Buffalo Chip because now people
Yeah.
are like, hey, I want to see these guys. They were on TV.
All I'll say is Steel Panther, think David Lee Roth, 1985,
Yeah.
with a meth problem.
Maybe we'll get them on our channel. We might get them to talk. We might get we'll get you up on stage with them.
That opinion was just mine. I'm sorry, but I'm not a fan of Steel Panther. I'm not. It's not. I mean,
It's a long story from way back.
it's a long.
See, most of those bands like that, it's like they had a bunch of these bands like that. Also at the Full Throttle. I don't even know. I've never heard of half of these bands that they have. That what's those other ones that they've had?
Saliva,
Yeah.
Tesla.
I've never heard of any of those. We go back and listen to those songs. I don't know
There's
any of
something
those.
with lip something.
And I didn't know any of those bands. I mean, I didn't really know Jackal either until the Full Throttle show came out. And then I started listening to some of the Jackal stuff. Some of the songs I like. Half the songs we really like, you don't even sing at the events. He's got his whole normal ones he sings. But that's Jesse for you. But
So you guys have a great night. Have a great week at work. Now would be a great time to take your motorcycle to the shop, get its oil changed, get its service done, get it fixed now. It's cheaper to get it fixed now than it is on your way to Sturgis.
On the road.
like somebody needs a tire.
Yeah.
I need a tire.
He needs a tire.
And be looking at him like, ooh, yeah, you ain't gonna make a Sturgis on that.
I
puppy.
know. I'll be putting her in
Yeah.
the shop. She's
Because it is usually if you can wait to Sturgis, tires, for instance, J&P Cycles always whatever the sale price is in the flyer, it's the same price in the store, so you can get a really good deal. So that's where I pretty much get my tires through JP. I don't really price around, but that's usually where I get my tires
Wow.
from. because they're on sale.
Neil's leaving in a week to come down to
Yeah.
the lower 40.
Yeah, he's got to get down. He got to fly on his plane to get his other motor. He's so rich, he's got 2 motorcycles. Must be nice.
Yeah.
Way to go, Neil.
One of them is carved out of snow.
It's an icicle.
It'll melt halfway down.
That's why he doesn't ride it when it gets over 40 degrees.
Yeah.
The other day it was 60 degrees there, and he says, I'm sweating. Got to turn the air on. All right, so that we're going to leave you.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Bye.
Don't forget to subscribe, give us a thumbs up, ring that bell for notifications, and we'll see you on the next video.
I got to walk up here and turn it off. Ugh.
Bye. Oh, no, you can do it on
Poof.
here, can't you? Oh, I guess not.
At the tone, the time will be 1:17.
Sorry.